Fore play presented by Barstool Sports. We have just finished up the 2021 Masters Tournament. Hideki Matsuyama, we're watching him on TV. He's in Butler Cabin. Huge win for, obviously, Japan. He's been under intense pressure. I know we talked a few years ago. I think it was after the 2017 PGA Championship, which JT won. There's an awesome article, which I'm going to try to pull up and tweet out, but about how some journalists kind of found Hideki after that round. He was in the lead. He had a really good chance to win that week. Kind of like, I believe he was kind of doubled over or kneeling behind like a grandstand, just trying to get away from all the press and all the pressure. Very emotional guy. He deals with an insane amount of pressure. He is, I believe, the second biggest star in all of Japan. He's just a mega star over there. He has a huge press pool that follows him all the time. And he just won the Masters tournament. So,
and who's number one? Shohei Ohtani?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe that's what they're talking about. I think it was on Live From where they were kind of going through that, and they were saying, like, people don't understand that they are such a media-driven, especially around their celebrity stars that play overseas and play in America, culture, and that they, like, worship him, and he has an insane amount of pressure, and he's kind of just a quiet guy that wants to go through it. I'm watching him put on the green jacket right now, and it's awesome. But amazing performance. His kind of back nine on Saturday after the rain delay will always be remembered. He was 6 under through the last 8 holes, took over the golf tournament, and here we are. Hideki Matsuyama is the 2021 Masters champ. We got a lot to get to.
Ton to get to, man. This has been a very, very fun week. Lots of ups and downs. I have a little bit of a voice issue going on right now.
Your voice has been cracking. It's very fun.
You know, I've said some shit on Riggs' throat before, and that's come back to haunt me.
You said I have a weak voice.
Right, and my throat has let me down this week. But what didn't let us down was the golf course. Augusta National was out in full force this week. Carnage. We saw a lot of it. The greens were glass.
Back to being in April. I mean, honestly. It was
April's huge for us.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought Augusta had a clear agenda day one. Like, we heard all week that the course was firm and fast. And you don't really get to see it, like, as a fan, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like, there's not much footage of, like, balls bouncing, whatever. That Thursday when we came out, I mean, Kiz even made the comment after, like, I feel bad for anyone whose first Masters it is that played in November for the first time because they don't know what the hell they're doing today. It was firm, fast. Scores were brutal. Rows went low, but other than that, the course just dominated people. I think Augusta was out for, like, hey, that one-off in November thing was cute, but I don't want you guys to get comfortable with that.
We got used to it. We got used to it as the week went on, but Thursday, seeing those greens, they were brown. We were like, what is happening?
Well, Kiz made a comment, too. I mean, he, I think, alluded to the fact that he played the best golf, or he struck the ball better than he has in a long time. And he was like, yeah, just to hit a green spot or a brown spot from 180 yards is difficult. And it has a different bounce depending on where it hits.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the only comments I saw that seemed almost like he was saying he
was
did,
almost unfair kind of that way.
Not unfair, but just like you need good luck. But he backed it up by saying, like, I hope it plays like this the whole week. He loved it. So that did kind of come off a little bit to me, like you got to hit a random bouncy spot. And it was weird as a viewer to see it because we're used to just perfectly green.
Yep. Yeah.
And I do think there's, Phil made some pretty aggressive comments in his presser leading up to the tournament about, like, yeah, it's been a decade or so since we've seen it like this. I wish we had course conditions like this. He started talking about angles and all the bullshit. And I think that, like, one of my theories, I think a lot of other people's theories, is that, like, Augusta wants it to present green, right? Like, they care what it looks like on TV, down to everybody hears about they spray paint stuff, they fucking put dye in the water. Like, they want it to look perfect on TV, and so do we. But when you get it firm and fast, it doesn't look perfect on TV. The greens look like they're brown, even though they're just, like, not. We had people tweeting at us that were at the tournament that were patrons, almost call them spectators, that were patrons. That were like, it doesn't look like that in person. It just kind of looks like that on TV. But once we got over that, I think you're right, Frankie. By, like, day 2, I didn't even notice it.
I wonder how much of this we're seeing now as the years go on, like, different, like, little details in Augusta because of these 8K cameras, the crazy camera angles, the drone shots. Like, who knows what the course looked like in 1985 because it was this, like, 420p.
Right, you had 2 cameras out there.
Two cameras out there. You didn't have guys.
You point them where you want them. Now there's cameras everywhere.
Cameras in the trees.
Yeah.
Cameras in the trees.
Literally in the trees.
So I do contribute a lot of that to just advancements.
Ooh. Advancements in technology.
Advancements is a weird word. Advancements in technology.
Feels like your voice is barely holding.
No, it's actually good. If I really try and I talk like this, I'm gonna be perfectly fine.
Okay.
You sound nice there.
Thank you.
And since the podcast, the Behind the Greens Master Stories, where people said that they have put cameras all around Augusta National, I think a couple people have tweeted at us pictures of it, and it is like no joke, surveillance, Big Brother type cameras.
They are.
And that has nothing to do with the broadcast, but it's crazy to think how many cameras are out there.
Cameras, man. We live in a heavily populated camera society and world these days.
That'd be interesting. How many cameras do you think are at Augusta?
Total or that are contributing to the broadcast?
Total. Over 1,000?
Oh, I mean, it's got to be under 1,000. There's only 18 holes.
But inside, outside, all the maintenance sheds.
Surveillance.
Right.
I'd be comfortable saying there's 200 cameras.
That's the exact
Dude,
number I had in my head.
I was right around there, too.
How could a security guard or team even manage more than 200 cameras? Think about
motion
the screens.
detectors?
I know, but that's just insane. I don't even think a mall has 200 fucking security cameras.
I would like to know. I would pound the over on 200.
Really? All those stores and banks and shit. Yeah, okay.
I would pound the over on 200.
You would?
Really?
Yeah.
I wish we can get the answer to this.
Me too.
We're not counting cell phones that are on property.
No.
Just having
No,
cameras
no.
on them. Okay, all right. Because I know you could get
That's
into a
fair.
weird
Yeah,
spot
yeah, you
there.
could.
Masters just ended. What's our instant reaction to Hideki Matsuyama winning?
Well, my first reaction is I love an Owens transfusion. That's
There we
really
go.
one of my main key reactions. We had a bunch this weekend. Anyone who followed along the live stream, we very much appreciate it. And we saw a lot of folks getting in and dabbling, and all the reviews are extremely, extremely positive. Owen's getting into way more stores now, by the way. Kroger's, which is a huge thing. Publix, which is all over in Florida. What are you pointing at right
that
now?
TV said Kroger as
Kroger
soon
on
as
it.
you said
Come
Kroger.
on.
Yeah.
Swear to
Hey,
God.
Just so you know, I didn't even see that.
You said Kroger and it popped up to the
Yeah.
point where I thought you saw it and remembered.
And it triggered my brain?
Right.
Wow. That's pretty
Publix
cool.
is awesome. Publix, I think I've said this on the podcast, but they definitely made their name with that X or the S at the end because old people add that to where they're going anyway. Walmart's, Chipotle's, Best Buy,
You think that was a strategy
and
decision?
just Publix. It's just easy to say for older people, and older people live in Florida.
You know what? That's true because do you have older family members and stuff that call it barstools?
100%.
Yeah. You do have that.
I've got family members that call it Barnes and Nobles.
Exactly.
They call it Barstool? Barnes and Nobles?
No. They say Barnes and Noble as Barnes and Nobles.
Oh, okay.
That was just another example.
White Castles.
Sorry if that was confusing.
Yeah.
But Barstools is a huge one.
So yeah,
Barstools is very funny.
My dad does that.
Yeah. Right. That's an older person move.
Right.
You're right. You're
So I
very
just
much on
think
to something.
them calling it public would already be changed to public. So good on them, and also
skipped
good on
a
them.
step.
Good on them for having transfusions.
Urge, what's one of your favorite drinks?
Paloma.
Oh, interesting.
You know what that is?
Tell me about it.
You sure? You want to know?
Yeah.
It's a little grapefruit.
Okay.
Okay. Little tequila. Add a little seltzer in there. Little lime. Ooh, boy, is that good.
Well, Owens is taking care of that. They've got a great mix.
Does
to
that fill
pour
up
it
the
in.
glass? There's a lot of little stuff.
Hmm?
Do you get to the top of the glass with all that little stuff?
Yeah.
You know?
What do you? Well, hold on.
Nothing is significant in that drink.
Do you think just because there's little stuff you can't fill up a glass?
Well, my question is nothing like. There's not one significant. You
Well,
never
seltzer could be a
Seltzer.
huge ingredient.
Okay.
So
That's
I
what
would
was
say,
asking.
equal
What owns
part
the drink?
tequila, seltzer, splash of grapefruit, little lime.
There you go. Now you're talking like a bartender.
which the grapefruit lime mixer from Owens covers all that.
Exactly.
And you're in a great spot. So anyways, you go to Amazon, you can get Owens. You can go to owensmixers.com. You can go to store.barstoolsports.com, and you can check the store locators on their website if you'd like. Go check out some Owens. It's great. My reaction to Hideki winning, I would say I was a little bit more moved at the end than I thought I was going to be. When he was tearing up a little bit, the video that's going viral right now is his caddy taking off his hat, grabbing the flag from the pin, putting the pin back in on 18, and then bowing to the golf course. I mean,
It's a cool video.
if that's not symbolic of kind of Japanese culture and them getting a W at Augusta National, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
And it's just ultimate respect. It's just
man.
my naive, I'm like, yeah, Augusta's a religious experience, but that is just, I think in their whole culture, it's just a respect factor of this course has my full undivided attention. I appreciate every moment out here, which I think is so damn cool.
Let me ask you this: if you played Augusta now, would you do anything similar to that at any point during the round or after the round? Or maybe you take your hat off and look at the course as a thank you or any sometimes if you go on a really cool trip or something at the end of the trip after everybody's packed up and people sometimes you'll kind of walk around, do one last lap around the really cool spot and just kind of look and soak it up and be like, this was fucking awesome. So I'm wondering if you would think about doing anything of that when you played Augusta.
I wouldn't do anything different, but I would try to soak it in as much as I could, but that's to me. Everybody's different in terms of how, he soaks it up, Hideki's caddy and whatnot. But to me, no, I mean, you guys make fun of me because sometimes I blink if I try to snap a mental image of, the
Jim and Pam.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Like if I was on the 13th, I'd blink a few times. I mean, it did look like a painting today. We comment on that, but I would do nothing different. I would still try to soak it in as much as possible, honestly, because it's just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But no, I don't think I'd bow or anything. Trent?
You know how senior college basketball players, when they come off the floor for the last time, they kiss the floor? I might kiss the 18th green. I might plant a big old wet one on the 18th green. What's wrong with that? Is there anything wrong? I think
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing. I love it.
I thought people might be weirded out by wanting to kiss the ground.
You think they replaced divots there or no?
At Augusta?
Yeah. Or do they just come back with seed? Only reason I ask, I want your answer.
So we've been now, luckily we've been like chirped and yelled at enough on the internet to realize that there is a difference based on like grass and where the climate and stuff that you're in, whether you just are supposed to reseed it, a car sounds horrible, whether you're supposed to reseed it, whether you're supposed to replace the divot yourself, or sometimes you're supposed to do nothing and like the grounds crew goes out and fills them with their own special stuff at the end. I will say I think at Augusta they reseed. I don't think it's a fill-in. I think I can't think of any examples in my head quickly of caddies and players running up, grabbing the divot, running back, and putting it in.
No.
And I feel like you see that when they're doing it.
So the reason I say that is if I took one of my lurchy divots that's a shovel, would I be able to keep that little patch of grass and take it home? Because I would love to take that home.
Let me say this, and you can make your own judgments based on this. I'm going to say this is going to make us all think, no, you can't. But a good number of the emails that we got for the submissions that I read through about Augusta stories, maybe 2 or 3 of them, were, hey, my buddy went and played Augusta as a guest, got a hole-in-one. Augusta said afterwards, congratulations, it's amazing. We're going to get a photograph of it, of the situation. And what they did was like everybody, one person I believe is usually allowed to have a phone or a camera. People take pictures throughout. You can't share them anywhere, but you have them for your own personal use. So people take photos, whether it's like their shot after on the tee or them getting the ball out of the hole or whatever. And then Augusta took one of those photos, and again, there are multiple stories of this, and said, we're going to get this all framed up, Augusta, Fayette, whatever, and like send it to you. Like, great. Said it took a couple months, and then they got a painting of it. Not an actual photo, but a painting of it. And the envelope and information that came with it said, we invite you to keep this painting, but here's what it's going to cost. And the invoice for it was like $50,000.
No way.
What? And both parties said, and again, this was multiple emails, said that the person, the guest, like, thought about it for weeks and was like, that's an amazing amount of money. Like, I don't know what to do. But that both of them ultimately were like, it sucks and it's hard, but I'm going to do it. Like, that means the world to me. Paid the $50,000 for the painting. Augusta then responded to that by inviting both of them to be members of the club because they proved how much it meant to them to get an ace at Augusta National. This was 2 completely separate emails.
I'm speechless.
So it's just a fucking game they're playing?
So my point to bring it back is like, if you think you can just sneak out of there with a little divot from here, I don't know.
I think it's a no. I think it's a no. You see me like sneak a divot into my bag, and I just.
And we have talked to enough people who have played Augusta now that somebody would have mentioned that they took one of their divots. That they were like, oh, and I also at my house under like a glass case, I have one of my divots.
Right.
Holy shit!
The mental games they're playing.
Well,
I mean,
who was it for the longest time who wanted to be a member there, and that was the reason why they didn't allow them to be a member. Was it Bill Gates or?
It may have been.
So if you're so desperate to be a member at Augusta National, they're like, we don't want you.
Right. If they're like poking around and you're begging, they're like, you're not our kind of guy.
It's all head games.
What the hell's happening in that boardroom at Augusta National? These guys are just chuckling like how they can fuck with people's brains as much as they possibly can.
Well, they've got everybody by the balls.
Oh, yeah.
It's a place that everyone wants to go. It's a place that everybody wants to be a member at, so they can do whatever they want with their membership.
Yeah, it's a rare piece of America that's actually international waters, as we've said.
Yeah.
where they can do whatever they want at Augusta.
Whatever they
You
want.
also have to be in a place where you can spend $50,000 on a painting where you think you're getting a picture of your hole in one.
But the
so
point-
like the letdown, the excitement.
That was kind of their
I
point.
know.
That was like both these guys, the people sending it in was like, these guys aren't guys that can just spend $50,000 on a paint. Like, you can't. Who could do that?
Right.
Nobody could do that.
I also like that Augusta also sort of treats itself like a courtroom where cameras aren't allowed in, where things that happen are sometimes turned into paintings. Like it's making me think about
Yes.
it's making me think about the Tom Brady picture, where it's like, obviously, hopefully the Augusta painters are better than that, but they view their grounds as so sacred that cameras sometimes aren't even allowed to capture
we
what's
just
going
watch
on.
it in 8K for like 7 straight days on ESPN. Like we know what the golf course looks like.
Yeah,
And they were like, no, we're not even going to put this photograph into a frame, which is all you wanted. We're going to now commission our own painting, send it to you, and force you to buy it.
Wow.
that is next level mind games.
It is. It is.
But it also makes me love it even more.
Would you pay 50 grand for a hole in one?
Well, now that I know the story, that there's like,
knowing that you won't become a member after, one and done.
I'm just not in a spot to spend $50,000. Like,
No.
so it's just a non. It's not even a
Right.
talking point. But like,
Right.
if
It's
I
like,
had that and $50,000 was a check that I could write and feel no pain from, then maybe I could get myself.
right, but
to
I
do
don't
it.
think that was the case. Anybody would if they
So you
couldn't
think
feel
the people
pain.
that you went back and forth? With
I
on the
know they
email?
said this.
All right,
They
so-
were
no,
like,
I
the
know,
guy
but-
could
but-
not just spend $50,000.
Oh, they said that. So
Oh, yeah.
they were like,
They were like, that's why it was
an
a brutal
uncomfortable
decision.
amount
Then
of money.
how to become a member?
No, then he's got to.
Well, I don't think it's that crazy once you remember. I think it's really old school. It's like how they have $1.50 pimento cheese sandwiches. It's like a crazy
Holy
place.
shit! Wow.
But don't they send you like? Don't you just get assessments that you're just ready? Like you don't know how much they're going to be, and they just hit your household. And
I would assume, and again, in these situations, like I don't know. I
Well,
don't know
remember
what
the
it's
story-
like to be a member of the
The
government.
other
I think
story
they keep
was
pretty
that
hush-hush.
they kicked 2 people out for a reason I can't remember now from the Behind the Greens episode, but when you the way you find out is they just don't send you your fees every
Yeah.
year.
You just stop billing.
It
you.
just stops happens.
In
Then
January, you hit them up in February. Like, hey, in January, I just never got like my bill.
they're like,
And
no.
they're like, they just go radio silent.
They ghost you.
We just remove the problem. We just
Office
Yeah,
Space.
that's
We
right.
fix the glitch.
yeah, we
Disrespect
fix
to
the
the
glitch exactly.
Would you like an easier way to play golf to book your next tee time? Well,
Yes.
guess what? The Barstool Golf Time app is out there. It's available. It's our app. We are working nonstop to make that thing as cool as possible. We're uploading and putting in all of our course reviews that we've done, whether we've done them as a crew with all kinds of drone footage, whether we've done them more as little one-offs. The point is we're going to be in there telling you, helping you, along with a bunch of foreplay fans, listeners, Barstool fans, other fellow golfers, what courses are like so that when you look it up on the Barstool Golf Time app, you will get a real life from real humans kind of breakdown information, intel on the course and make your decision that way.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of tweets like why download this and not the other 30 tee time apps that I have on my phone already. And I think the big differentiator for us is that there are a bunch of reviews, like you're saying. Like I've already put up one of my favorite courses on Long Island, Windwatch, which you guys actually came to.
First time we ever played golf.
First time we ever played golf together was we went to Windwatch. We almost killed a bridal party on
whole
the first
whole
tee.
wedding party.
They were just fucking taking pictures on the tee box.
Crazy.
It was.
And I remember, so that is a huge plus for our app because you have a bunch of these reviews. Like I've uploaded a Windwatch review, and I've uploaded me hitting a drive on the 10th hole and showing like the undulations off the tee and how crazy sloped it is. Like you actually get to see like your friends or strangers even how they enjoyed that golf course as opposed to just reading fucking words or a star review, whatever. You see it. You physically see a video, a picture, and I think that's going to go a long way. So download it. It's a Barstool thing. Also, we're going to have incentives, right? Like there's going to be like...
Yeah, we have a rewards program. And then the other thing is like we partner with Supreme Golf. So Supreme Golf was already the best app to use because of their technology and they have all the other tee time apps under their umbrella. So they had thousands and thousands of tee times. So now we're just adding this awesome another layer of like reviews from us, from other listeners that are like-minded like you, pictures, photos, videos, drone footage, and making it the best tee time app in the world.
I would say get in there as fast as you can because there will be a benefit to being in here early and getting reviews in and pictures and videos.
And
like
booking tee times.
Like that's like if you like start getting your stats up, I would say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're 100% right. And golf season just hit us for a lot of people.
Right.
Like,
So
it's
that's a
go
little
time.
hint. That's a little hint and a little teaser for what's to come. Just start getting your numbers up a little bit. Start being active.
First person to rate a course, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or if like you have like the most ratings, the most pick, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
That's
if you
something
have-
that you're going to want to be.
Like the more tee times you book using our app, the more you're going to have rewards programs build up that give you free tee times. And the New York Islanders just scored, so fans going nuts. Free tee times and merch and other gear that you're just going to get simply by using this app to book. And you could use any app, so you'd be crazy not to use ours. It's on the App Store, so no matter what you're using, go to the App Store, download Barstool Golf Time. It's a great app. Xander Schauffele, we got to talk about this. He was just on the TV. Man, this was a tournament that was dead. It was underground. It was, I would say, 5.5 feet under. It had, 7 out of the 8 nails were in the coffin. And then all of a sudden, Hideki hits a 4-iron or whatever from 235 over the green on 15 into the water. Xander almost holes out for eagle, makes birdie. We got a 2-shot tournament, 2-shot swing. Stand up on 16T. Xander hits it in the water, makes fucking triple.
Devastating. If you go back to the Masters Preview podcast, I had 2 picks. I had Colin Morikawa and I had Xander Schauffele, and I felt really good about Xander going into Sunday. I tweeted about Xander Day. I tweeted about it a million times. I really felt like he had a really good chance, even though it felt like Hideki, even at the start of Sunday, had a pretty good lead on everybody. But that never ends up being the case for the whole day. And then after the first hole, Hideki makes bogey, and it's for 15 minutes, it's a 1-stroke lead for Hideki. So I felt really good about Xander the whole day. And then on 15, I obviously felt fantastic. He had a great bunker shot. He made birdie. I just don't know what happened on 16. I really don't even know what happened. We got to catch a little bit of him talking to Balionis post-round. He didn't really talk through the shot, or at least the part that we saw. He's talking a lot about scar tissue, about how he keeps coming up short in big tournaments. But man, he just needed a good shot there, and he didn't. He put it in the water, and that's the last thing you can do
on a hole where a lot of people hit good shots. Like we were gambling all week on the Barstool Sports book, and we were taking greens regulation and birdies, and like the odds for people to make birdie on 16 were almost a pick'em because it was such a birdie hole, such a gettable. And for him to be playing that well, he birdied 4 holes in a row to get himself back in the tournament. Showed a ton of guts, and then to hit that shot, Dottie I think said it hit a wall of wind.
I love the way they say Dottie.
Mm-hmm. Dottie.
All
Dottie.
different types of
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Like that?
Frankie just froze.
He just didn't have it.
accents.
Yeah.
Accents. We got too many TVs on in front of me. I'm like, it's just, I'm like a little baby that just like sees something. Oh, too many, all these different accents. The way they say Dottie, it's amazing.
I've mentioned this before, but Dottie Pepper is one of the people who has me blocked on Twitter.
What?
I wonder
why?
what you said.
For
do you
no
know?
reason. I'm pretty
Dottie?
sure I've never tweeted about. I definitely have not tweeted at her. I maybe I
doesn't like
tweeted.
She
you
just
back
finds
her?
you repulsive.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
finds my face, my commentary,
My
my,
face.
body, just everything about me. She's repulsed by. She's like, that's
she
a
saw
block.
you come up on her TL, and she's just like, ugh,
Never again.
just
Never
block him.
block. Gone.
I don't know what the reason is.
Block 2, you're permanently dead to her.
Dead.
Like, you're gone.
She can't even see anything that you're associated with.
Do you guys ever block people?
Yeah, I'll block someone
No.
like here and there.
I will too. I will mostly based upon DMs only, almost. Like
Okay.
if you send me personally a malicious message, that to me
Block?
is grounds for you're just gone. You're
Well,
out
The
I
only
figure,
person I
like-
blocked was my friend. That's it. I just blocked my buddy.
You didn't want him to see anything?
No, we kind of just go back and forth, but that's the only person I've
What do
ever
you mean? I don't
blocked.
get it. That's like a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
I've never
That's-
blocked anyone on Twitter because I don't like giving people the satisfaction like that. I mute everybody.
Well, that's a thing that trolls and people listening and all these people that want to like get in under our fucking skin. That the mute button, they don't understand that we just don't see what they said.
I have thousands of people who do not like me on Twitter screaming into the abyss.
The only time
I do that
just
too on
don't see
Twitter.
those
On
people.
Twitter, I
they
do that.
just have no clue that you don't see it. They have no clue that the mute button's a thing, and
Right.
that's amazing.
I've probably got guys that have been ragging on me for 7 years, and they
They
just
have no-
think that
they have no
it
clue.
eats away at me every time, and it doesn't. I just
There's
mute
no
people.
way to see it. We can't even go in and look. So I'll do that, but then also I'll block someone that like I notice that they made an account just to shit on us, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a brand new account.
Because that's not a real account.
And I'm just like at this point, like just as Lord says, whatever.
Yeah.
Just fucking,
Who cares?
you're out of here.
You're
You're out of
following
here.
me.
It does feel like you're out of here. And I will say, I don't completely buy into the, like, if somebody blocks you, if you block somebody, you're giving them the satisfaction of, like, because I think that person is devastated. They just, like, they don't even have the option to see anything anymore. They're gone.
Yeah, that's the punishment, right? It's
Yeah.
you no longer get to consume my Twitter content.
Right.
But
Right,
it seems like the people that I would block but don't and mute instead, they just hate me anyway.
The mute, I would say on Twitter, the mute is the go-to. It's mostly on Instagram. If I notice someone, if they send me a malicious thing, and I'll occasionally click on, like, go through, I try to respond to people, especially, like, if they send nice messages or whatever, try to respond to people sometimes. And, like, if they have a string of just sending malicious stuff, in my head, I add it up, and I almost like when the NHL player safety, when they, like, based on, player history, I'm like, you're out of here. This is a permanent suspension. You're blocked. You're
not
gone.
to interrupt the Twitter conversation, but Tiger Woods has tweeted, making Japan proud, Hideki. Congratulations on such... Oh, my phone went dark. Such a huge accomplishment for you and your country. This historical at the Masters win will impact the entire golf world.
So I saw that, and again, happy that Tiger is able to, and in a place where he's watching the Masters, tweet out his thoughts. A thing related to this that we have to address is Tiger tweeted out last week another blue background statement.
That was when the LA County Sheriff came out and said that their investigation had concluded. Is that
so
right?
Are we down to 4 now? I think we said 5.
That's right. We put a number on
until
it.
He like
this. I
is
mean,
done.
this one has been.
This one's the conclusion of a really dark time in his life.
And then, the next one of that we're going to get from Tiger, I would imagine that's like that. Is what would it be? It's not going to be any more like this thing feels done now.
His first tournament back.
Right. That was my thought.
I think we could see another related to this because stuff has leaked since then.
To the what?
To the accident.
Okay.
The speeding.
One more, you think?
Stuff is leaked. Like there was the right after we published the podcast, it leaked that there was like an unlabeled pill bottle and that he was like combative with authorities when he immediately upon response, which like he was in shock. So and it was like New York Post. But
I missed those two pieces, but the one piece that I did see was that when asked where are you, he said Florida.
I saw that,
which is now the opposite. It's the flip of the Jupiter. When he was in Florida, they asked him where he was, and he said Southern California.
Right, which again I think is very defensible. Like he was in shock. His car just flipped over 3 times, going 85 miles an hour. But my point is that I'm not saying he's going to tweet. I wouldn't be stunned if we got another blue background tweet, maybe to put a real nail in this whole thing and try to put it to bed.
You could be right. I'm hoping now we've gotten past all of this, and the next few tweets are going to be ones like the Hideki one, and then also this is looking a little bit more in the future. Him putting up a video of him chipping or him hitting
because last time, remember, he did like a simulator shot,
right?
And we were like, ooh, and then he just ripped a driver.
Yep,
he had like the Sunday Red on. He just posted a driver swing, and we were like, oh man, do you think he's going to build back up to it that way?
Yeah. I think it'll be a similar progression.
I will say if we get more than one blue background tweet, we're in a bad spot.
We're in trouble.
Right. If we hit 2
before a tournament, it's over.
Something's up.
1 is the max he can have before he plays again.
Really?
2's dangerous.
Trying to think about
what could come out in 2 more of these blue background tweets.
I'm trying to think about things related to his life that would constitute a blue background tweet. And it's been sneaky. Like he kind of hits you with it sometimes out of the clouds with something that you don't think of.
Maybe the passing of someone.
With his mom.
True. Whoa, come on.
What?
Jesus. I'm just saying.
Jesus.
I mean, he said passing to someone. I said someone with his mom, and I get the Jesus.
Oh, I thought you were saying that. Yeah, I mean,
I think he thought you were saying in relation to mine.
Oh no, I just
Sunday night, man. We just watched the Masters.
I will say these don't count. These just
no. Those aren't blue
because I can see them. I literally read that off of my front screen,
right.
So I know what it said.
That's safe. Anyways, I'm glad that he's out there tweeting. I do think we're down into the very low single digits. You're right on blue background tweets from Tiger before. One of them could be a real problem.
Because we were saying that it's a countdown to the retirement one,
right? Do you think we're in a position now, based on everything that's come out and like the stories from Rory and JT about visiting Tiger? Are you in a position now where you think it's significantly more likely that he will play again than you were within the weeks after the accident?
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Okay. Me too.
You're more confident that he'll play now than you were weeks after?
Yes.
I'm not.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
We didn't even know if he was going to get out of the hospital with 2
right,
legs
but nobody's seen he could be in a wheelchair.
Yeah, but he's tweeting about golf. It's like he's moved. Like his life is now progressing.
Right.
The
He
weeks
could have
after,
gone.
we hadn't heard from him. We hadn't even seen
He
anything.
very easily could have been radio silent this whole time. And then you're like, what's going on? The Masters is going on, and he hasn't said anything. All these things are happening in the golf world, and he still hasn't said anything.
Right,
What's going on? Now that we know he's conversational, it sounds like the conversations he's had with Justin Thomas and Roy are
Right,
have
we
been
were
pretty
like,
light.
What has
is he in a
happened in the last
hyperbolic
couple
chamber?
weeks
Like, where is he? We didn't
that would
know.
make it worse than right after the accident. If anything,
Just because you hadn't seen him. But to Trent's point, him actually having conversations with people is big. Like
Huge.
the tweeting stuff, it's like you can't tell me he's the person typing this information into his phone.
No, I think he is.
I think
What?
No, I agree with you, Riggs. I think ever since the accident and the tweets that have come out, I think those are right off his fingers.
not the blue ones, but the real tweets.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Like the one about DJ about I really wish I could run up DJ's tab. That's a dad joke that he would tell in the presser. Like
Sorry,
for sure.
what are you doing with the
Right.
microphone? What
That is.
what are you doing with the microphone?
So let me tell you.
You kind of look like you're a rock star ripping on stage.
Right.
You're just like you just hit the note.
Let me
You're
tell you.
Freddie Mercury
Let me
up
tell
there
you.
just ripping.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's like he's literally about to hit the high note.
If I lay it flat, it doesn't get close enough to my face that I have to then lean forward and almost do an ab crunch the whole fucking show.
Yeah.
Whereas if I just hold it at a tilt, my arm's not strenuous, and it's in the perfect place where I can just lounge and chill. Because if I lean forward, it's not a natural show. I have to look left, look right all day, backwards almost. Now I'm in a conversational pose.
You're like sailing, like hitching out of a sailboat.
I'm just doing what's necessary to get the audio show done.
Think about the tweets we were getting from Tiger before the accident. It was every couple of weeks you'd get shout out to my TGR Foundation event, and it would be that, and it was very clear that it wasn't coming from him. These last tweets, like the DJ one, like that Hideki one that just came out, these all feel like a voice of an actual person.
Agreed.
And I think they are coming from Tiger.
I agree. And we'll never know, but I think so. And you know what? I would say next time when Tiger is back and we're all out happy and kumbaya again, I think I'm going to ask Robbie back. I'm going to say, hey, give me a little insider. Like, how many of those tweets does Tiger actually tweet out? I think he'll tell us.
I think so too.
I think he'll tell us.
I think he could give.
I could see him like. Do you think he texts those to somebody that puts them out, or do you think he logs in and is like, you know what, I'm going to fire off a tweet right now?
Who was the guy who would text them and then someone would put them out? Celebrity. I cannot think of who it was. Larry King?
I
think Larry King has a flip phone, and then he would text. I'm sorry.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And then he would text someone. And
One of the best to ever
tweets
do
up.
it, Larry King.
Yeah, a lot of interviews. I'm jaded because Cousin Mike and Cousin Murray, who you and I once hosted a radio show with,
they love him.
They hated him.
Well, they love to hate him, but
Yeah,
they
they
love
thought
to
he was
bring
a-
him up. I mean,
They rest in peace again, but they thought he was a talentless hack.
yeah, and but they love to just
Good for Twitter.
I would argue that anyone that they hated, they loved because they're consumed with him.
That's so true.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different. It's people probably don't know what we're talking about. Cousin Mike, Cousin Murray, who we love very much. They're great people. Dave Portnoy's dad, and then his dad's best friend, Cousin Murray, and they're a great time. And Trent and I have done shows with them for a long time. Anyways,
Bringing it back to this tweet
Yeah.
about Hideki, this historical Masters will impact the entire golf world is a very true statement.
Oh yeah.
it's
I
been
mean-
one of the main themes kind of this weekend once Hideki took over the tournament is, in the women's game, clearly we've seen it. And 10, 15 years ago, Asian women coming out and having a ton of success has now spawned a dominance in the game, and it has led to a lot of tournaments going over there, a lot more people playing. We haven't fully seen that in the men's game. I think this is going to catapult that dramatically. People are playing a lot of golf in Japan, and it's not like any of the four of us know all those stats, but again, watching the live from those on Golf Channel that do that job, pulling up a lot of the information about how big golf has become in Japan in the last several years and how Hideki is the face of that. And now him winning is going to lead to the Tiger effect in a lot of the parts of the world that it hasn't had that effect. The same Tiger effect that happened here is clearly going to happen, over there and in a lot of places where we don't know the culture, we don't pay attention much. It's very different. The language is different, whatever. It's going to have a huge impact.
Right, that's a regional winner. Like when you think about golf, I feel like you think about Europe, the U.S., Australia, South Africa, and then
A little bit of Canada.
a little bit, but like North America, call it.
Okay, yeah.
But this is just going to be a massive win. I mean, it's
It's
going to
Asia.
be incredible, right? It's
Asia loves him.
And there are
as
so
they
many
should.
people there.
Insane amount.
And you know what's awesome too? It's like you always love to see the first, right? This is such a big accomplishment for his culture and his people. Like you always like the first African American to win at Augusta National, and
Right.
then we saw Lee Elder on the tee box for the ceremonial first tee. Now you have the first Asian golfer to win at Augusta National. You love to see like guys breaking through, especially at a place like Augusta with all the history and all just like the bad stuff that's happened. Like having a guy walking to that fucking cabin and putting on a green jacket, it's just so huge for just his people, and like they have to feel like, all right, we're in there now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Jim Nantz made it the theme of his, after he makes the final putt, Jim Nantz is like, this is Japan's first winner at Augusta National. Like, that's a big fucking deal.
It looked like he almost came out of like a blackout when he was
Yeah.
when he putt, and then you talked about it in the beginning of the show, Riggs, when he's walking up the hill. It's like he didn't know that he won the Masters, and then Frankie made a comment. He's still holding his putter, like as he's walking in to put
walked
like his scorecard
to
in.
Butler cabin with
Like,
his putter.
Yeah, you could see it hit him, and then his facial reaction change almost with every step as he moved up the hill to the cabin to enter his scorecard.
I thought you could visually notice it too. You could legit see the weight of it all kind of come off his shoulders and him enter almost like a celebratory phase.
Right.
And like the gallery was fist pumping him a little bit, and he was semi blacked out because he's carrying his fucking putter up to like the score.
It's a great call
That's-
by Frankie.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool, and it was like moving a little bit. You're like, oh,
you know what else
man,
is pretty
this
fucking
cool.
crazy, and this is getting deep and like serious, but like, in America right now, there's like a ton of Asian hate. It's all over the news right now. Asian American hate, like they're getting fucking beaten up in the streets. They're getting like murder rates are through the roof right now. People are legitimately pinning a coronavirus on them. It's insane to watch a guy at like our biggest fucking thing of the year. And that's Hideki Matsuyama. Like, how fucking cool is that?
Awesome.
For his people now to be like, yeah, fuck you guys. You're fucking white sport at Augusta National. Our fucking guy just fucking dominated. I love it. I love like groundbreaking shit like that. I'm a big story guy. I like headlines. And I hate when the boring guy wins. I just fucking despise it. And the fact that Hideki Matsuyama is our champion this year is fucking awesome. And like, hats off to him, his team, and everyone in fucking Japan probably going nuts at like 10 o'clock in the morning that he just won the fucking Masters.
I was going to say,
how awesome.
Dude, it's such a good point, and it's 8 o'clock at night here in, East Coast, and I cannot wait, like when we finish this tonight, to go and watch like video reactions around Japan to see like the headlines from the different papers and the segments that they have on the news of like what it means, right? Because like we pretty much have like one person to us a lot of the times as golf fans encompasses an entire nation of Japan. That's it. We just see one person.
Right.
We're like, oh yeah, that's just Hideki Matsuyama. But that guy is legit representing like millions and millions, if not billions of people that are like, that's our fucking guy. And he just won for them. And seeing the fallout in a good way of like what this meant to those people is going to like add such perspective.
They
to
just
it.
send their guy over here.
Right. He just comes over
Like,
here.
we have a fucking hundreds of guys in the field, and they just send their guy over here, and he wins. That's
Hideki
fucking awesome.
Also has huge testicles because he went to the
huge.
bunker of the second shot on 18, and that was a pretty scary moment for, I'd say, everyone.
Well, I asked you guys, what was your
we were
main-
all nervous watching.
It was very nerve wracking.
I asked you guys what your like instant reaction was, and for me, it is amazing every time I watch Augusta or the Masters, obviously. How I just can't comprehend how guys are able to walk up 18 and get it done.
Yeah.
And like, a week goes by, whatever, you watch all the fucking footage of him hitting the last putt or and you're like, that's just what guys do. But when you're in it, my instant reaction is always, how is he about to do this?
Well, Riggs
You
and
can't but I don't feel like that with any other tournament. Like maybe in the moment during the U.S. Open, during the Open and all this stuff, I'm like, this guy's got to be super nervous. But something about 18 at Augusta, you're just like, there's no way he's even going to get the club face on the ball. There's no way.
Well, Riggs and I were saying with that third shot of the bunker, we'd sooner walk off the course and never finish our round before we'd climb into that bunker and try to win the Masters. Like, that's such a scary shot.
Yes, it's the fact that there's all this buildup and conversation and press conferences and debates and podcasts about hitting golf shots, and then it all boils down to hitting one golf shot. And then there's actually a human on Earth who was born from other humans, just like we were, who actually now has to step into that bunker and hit the golf shot. He has to, like, literally physically move his limbs and then deliver a fucking club face into a sand bunker and hit a ball near a hole to win the Masters in front of all these people. Like that's like, how does he not just pass out from
right?
Like,
And
that is crazy.
we watch so much golf and so much professional golf, and these guys are so good that it seems somewhat automatic. But we all play golf, right? And we know how hard these shots actually are, and it can just happen where he hits a bad shot.
Yeah.
That can easily happen.
Totally.
Very, very possible. And obviously he didn't. He didn't make an up and down, but he did it. He won the Masters, but he could have just as easily bladed it over the green, and now it's a nightmare.
And he would have been ridiculed forever, but I wouldn't have blamed him because it's like, dude, you lose when you feel that much pressure. Nothing is what it otherwise is. Like, you're not hitting a bunker shot. You're actually just trying to control your arms and not fly the club into the air and kill somebody in the gallery because you just can't even like hold on to anything. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
And for him, like, again, to like, Trent made a point where he's like, I can't believe he's about to like hit this shot where it's like, I couldn't even fathom being told, like, my caddy would have to be like, dude, you have to climb into that bunker and you need to hit the shot. Otherwise,
Right, like
we can't. The tournament's not going to end.
It's possible for him to do what he did, where he hits a great shot, 2 putts, and he wins the Masters. Or it's also possible that he could throw up and pass out, and now we have to have a half hour before he can hit the ball because we got to wake up Hideki Matsuyama.
He's like, woo! He gets back up. He's like, I'm going to need a fucking second over here.
He's like, I apologize for doing that, but you guys got to understand this is an incredibly nerve-wracking
This is crazy
shot.
that I have
But
to do
instead,
it.
he steps up, hits a shot, and whatever. But yeah, it's moments like that. And you're right, Frankie, that the Masters, it's just a whole different level. And, he got it done. But like we were saying also, we were rooting for him in that moment. A couple of us had bets on Schauffele. A couple of us had bets on Spieth. Like, we had bets everywhere. But if the wheels were going to come off, we would have wanted it, quote-unquote, to happen during 15 and 16. Where it was like, that felt like a natural point where the tournament could slip away from Hideki. You don't want it to be on 18 coming out of a bunker.
Well, that was going to be my question. What was a more nervy shot, you think? That chip on the other side of 15 after it just hit in the water, or that bunker shot on 18?
I would say 15 for sure.
15.
Yeah.
Those shots behind 15.
That was also, I think that's the first moment where it hit him of like, ooh, I could be doing the thing here. Where I'm like, I just hit one in the water. Everything was in total control. I had a 4-shot lead. Now, like, I'm 30 yards over the green. I got a huge hill to go over. There's water on the other side. This motherfucker's about to make birdie. Like, what is going on?
And Faldo called it. Faldo was like, don't be a hero. Just, like, don't try to land this on the green. If you try to land this on the green, you very much run the risk of putting it into the other water. And now you are the guy who lost the tournament.
Dude, and credit to him because we talk a lot about, like, how many times have we sort of immortalized almost like moments where people blew it, or like we just like those are moments that get talked about forever and they get broken down. Of like Vandeveld, it was like, dude, why didn't you hit a 6-iron and win the tournament? It's so easy. And he basically, Hideki ended up winning by a shot. He essentially did like whatever needed to be done to just win the golf tournament.
Right.
He like chipped it up short on that hole, made bogey, then like Xander went in the water on 16, so he like hit one a little right, made another bogey, but it's like, that's fine. Then he ripped a couple tee shots. He made a little bit of sloppy bogey on 18, but guess what? He didn't need to make par. He just needed to make bogey, and he won the golf tournament.
What are you going to say?
No, I was going to say that it's obviously a language barrier, especially for people in America, but like, which I'm assuming why they don't have mics all up on him with his caddy, but I would love to know how involved his caddy was going down 15, 16, 17, 18 to try and get him to like 15. Like, what kind of conversation did they have? Did they have the Nick Faldo, let's not be a hero here? Or does Hideki make a lot of his own decisions? Like, we don't really know that relationship because we obviously don't know what the hell they're saying, and we don't know like where his head's at in that moment. I would love to know where his head was at going at 15, 16, 17, 18.
Hideki did make points, though, where now he's got a Japanese coach.
Right.
And so that might shed some light on the fact that like he does take input in. You know what I mean? If you're going to take a coach, then you probably will at least hear what your caddy has to say.
Yeah.
And I'll even argue that like you can add 12 into that mix of he's in the back bunker.
Yeah.
Chips it out, 2 putts, par or bogey rather,
took his
makes
bogey.
a 4. And like I think he executed 12, 15, and 18 perfectly. Like he had shots to give. He played arguably one of the best back nines Augusta's ever seen on Saturday.
Yeah.
And just, and had some strokes to give. And he kept doing that and kept making bogeys and never made the big blow up. And power to him because, exceptional weekend.
Sometimes you just got to take your medicine. You don't want to overdo it. If you put yourself in a position like on 15 where let's make a bogey, let's not try to make a miracle par, then that's how you win a tournament. It's the way, if you try to be a hero and you go crazy, that's where you lose a tournament like that.
And I remember, 2 years ago when Tiger won, of thinking after he flared that, approach shot on 18, and we're all like, okay, he can make a bogey here, and he walked up and he's surveying it, and you're thinking like, okay, he's got like a 30-yard chip, like Tiger can hit the green. But then it's like, dude, what was it, 4 years ago where he had the complete yips? And it's like, if there was ever a time when the chipping yips would come out, it could be now. Like, all he has to do is catch this a groove thin or a groove heavy, and he's in the same spot. Now he has to get up and down. So, like, that, and he's got all these people watching, and they go down there, and he clips one perfectly in the middle of the green, 2 putts, doesn't try to be a hero, and wins the tournament. It's like, that's what it takes sometimes to just win. We don't give people enough credit. And, like, you were just saying, Lurch, that, like, it wasn't like he collapsed but didn't collapse fully so he was able to hang on. It's like, no, he earned and built that lead, and he gave himself that cushion. And the reason that he did that, like, over 72 holes, he just played better than everybody else.
So we've seen 8 full rounds at Augusta National since Tiger made that shot. We haven't seen as bad of a second shot on 18 since Tiger did that, I feel like. That flared out shot he hit on his 72nd hole at Augusta National was... I still get the heebie-jeebies thinking about him having to hit that off a tight lie up onto the green. Like, I remember sitting there in 2019 being like, there's no way he wins this tournament now.
Was that confirmed intentional or unintentional?
No, remember he says it was completely
he
unintentional.
wiped it. He's like, I just completely wiped it.
Oh, my God.
So we have not seen a ball down there since.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he knew, I think he did say after, that I knew I couldn't go left, so I was just trying to cut one out to the right, and I could always just make a bogey from there. And he's like, but then I just totally wiped. Because he was slightly blocked out.
Right.
Remember, he hit 3 wood, so he's blocked out by the tree.
Right.
But those moments, man, like, those are now, almost no one ever talks about that or breaks it down, because it's like, oh, yeah, Tiger just, like, won the tournament, not a problem. But it could easily be talked about forever. That, like, oh, that guy blew it. Like, he had
and
that
that's
shit.
the most pressure a golfer has ever had after everything. To win the Masters again after all that time, like, that makes me, like, my skin crawl.
So you think there was more pressure on Tiger to win than there was on Hideki today?
That's an interesting question.
I would say way more on
a
Hideki
very
today.
different kind of pressure.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Japanese
Tiger's
born
pretty
player.
scrutinized, man.
I know.
We're calling Tiger Woods' win like the best win of his career. People are calling it all day during the broadcast.
So best win, but more pressure. Like, do you think on Tiger or Hideki?
I mean, Tiger arguably is never going to get back there again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would like him standing over that ball in 2018. He has to get that thing up.
It's also, I would say, tough for us to say because we know Tiger's pressure.
Right.
We can't really.
That's a good point.
There's no
speak to Hideki's pressure.
Hideki.
We hear about it, but we don't know.
Right.
We're not over there, right? Like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But they're both up there, and him to get it done, and both of them to get it done, kind of in a similar-ish way, where like they bogeyed the last hole. That's all they needed to do. It was just cool. It's really, really good for the game globally. It's awesome to see someone get that kind of monkey off their back, win a major championship. This is Hideki's 6th PGA Tour win. Interestingly, his other 5, 3 of them were in a playoff, and then the other 2 were blowouts. He won by 7 and he won by 5. So it's like he's just proven really to be clutch. Like, when he's had leads, he builds on them and dusts people. And when he's had it really tight and goes into a playoff, he just wins. He's won 3 of them. So
his ball striking's incredible. Like,
he
hits it irons miles in the air, I feel like. And then when he had to hit a towering high draw with his driver, he just did. And then going into today, I saw a stat where his scrambling percentage was 86%. Converting being off the green at 86% is a mind-boggling statistic.
At that place? He remains to be, and you know how good his ball striking is because, man, he fools you so much with his English body language after he hits a shot. It is never going to not happen because, like, there is a 1 to 2 second window as a fan where you just don't know. You have no idea where the ball's going. You only see the player's face and their body language. And when he misses, dude, he doesn't miss by much. He had one today on 11 where it was like he looked rattled. He almost like he had a slight half, like one-handed finish. 301 right down the middle. Carried it through.
There was a couple years ago where there was a stretch where he was doing it all the time. And you and I were very critical of it because it drives you crazy because you do try to judge the reactions of the guys and where you think the shot's going to land. And then you get shots like that and it lands, 301. It's a perfect drive. But we were also saying today that if Hideki Matsuyama is finally going to break through and win a major, it feels fitting that he's going to have a couple of these shots where he hits it, reacts like it's the worst shot of all time, and it's completely fine. So it's almost become endearing of Hideki Matsuyama when he does that, especially on a day like today.
It's funny, too, because you guys were talking like Frankie and Trent especially today, of how much you hate people that club twirl too much.
Got to get rid of the twirl.
And then Hideki's doing it on the other side of like, no, I hit
He
a great
is.
shot, twirl, and Hideki thinks every shot he's hit, the worst shot he's like you could possibly hit in a situation.
The twirl's
Turns
a
out
problem
perfect.
right now, and it's not. I don't want to get rid of the twirl. I'm not banning the twirl. I'm banning the usage of the twirl that like Jordan Spieth uses it. He fucking twirls every single iron. And when you're betting, when you're on the Barstool Sportsbook app, and all you have is that one shot from like in front of him on the fairway, and they're just zooming in on his face, and he gives you a twirl, and then all of a sudden you see the next camera and it flew the green, and it's like not even close. You can't utilize the twirl there. We have to use the twirl like Tiger twirls, where it's like, holy fuck, that guy just twirled and put the fucking sword in, and now we go. It's the best shot of the day.
All we ask is that the reaction somewhat match the
Well, they
result
have
of the
to match,
ball.
not somewhat. They have
Because
to
like
match.
it's the opposite. Like you're saying, Matsuyama, that doesn't match it at all. A club twirl with a ball that doesn't land on the green, that doesn't match the outcome of the ball. Like we just need it. And I agree with you. The club twirl, it has to be a goddamn good shot.
It's getting
if you're gonna
crazy
twirl.
now.
It's almost like it's becoming borderline like somebody bat flipping and it being a fly out. Like
Warning track pop out.
right. It's like we had that where Spieth twirled a couple today that were horrible shots. They were like over the green.
It's almost getting to the point where it's bat flipping on a ground out. Dude, on some of these,
we're
'cause
not
the
even
shots are
over
so
exaggerating.
bad.
Everyone just watched the Masters for 4 days, and maybe you guys weren't watching as intently as we were on these twirls, because we were like, I was living and dying responsibly on every single reaction of these guys to make sure that like we were betting birdie or better. And when these approach shots are coming in, I need to know if that thing's hitting the green. These guys twirl, and it's not just Spieth. They twirl every single iron. That's their follow through now. It's a twirl.
And it's not all of them. It's not all of them do.
No.
Riggs made a good point where like Tiger rips one stinger down like the fairway. You can twirl it because it's in the fairway. He ripped it. My counterpoint to Trent was like Patrick Reed did it today on the third hole. He nipped it, twirled the club, thought it was perfect. Third green just impossible to hit. It skipped off the back. Like, do you really fault him for that? Because he thought it was going to stop. He thought
Yes,
it was
because
going to be...
it has to be good.
So the outcome has to match.
Dude's like
Correct.
Swaggy
Even
P
if you hit it
turning around
perfect.
on that 3-pointer and was the Swaggy P?
Yeah.
He put up the fucking threes, and it's that famous gif, and the ball just bounces off the fucking rim.
That's exactly what it is.
True.
Yeah, it looked
It's a
perfect
good
until
point.
it wasn't.
And
Good
I would
point.
say now, especially when we were gambling on it, and gambling
Yeah,
golf's
it
going to
was
continue to be huge, that we've this week I think proved that the tracer is not that reliant.
Oh.
Like it's just wrong a good amount of the time. Yeah. So you're more like the batter always knows, right? Like we say that all the time. Like a golfer, these guys, how good they are, their yardage. When they flush one and they know they just know. And so when they twirl, it usually almost always means it's a great result.
Yep.
And we have a few people who are just getting a little bit too liberal now with their twirl usage, and it's infuriating as a fan, especially one who is monetarily invested in the outcome.
Right. Yeah. And my counter to what you were saying with Patrick Reed is that you don't twirl as much if you don't know. If you got to know.
So
you
yeah,
just got to know.
in Reed's spot there, since it's a super difficult spot, 3 green where the pin is on Sunday, it's nearly impossible to hit. So don't twirl because you're not 100%. You might be 90% sure.
gotta
Or
be
you
100.
nipped it, but you're putting yourself out there if you're twirling.
Or I would say this: when that happens, that should be a monumental Twitter moment that we make fun of for a long time, like the Swaggy. Like that should be a thing. It happens like every hour of the coverage.
Right. So
It happens.
Frankie's saying it's happening so much that we can't criticize all of
That
it.
should be a big thing where like, oh, he twirled. These are tight. Oh my God, look where it ended up. And we make fun of it for a while, and it's kind of a funny moment. Instead, it just happens all the time
Yeah, it
now.
does.
We're like immune to it now. We
It's
don't even
taking
notice.
away the good twirls, too.
Correct.
A good twirl on a Tiger Woods shot where he just stiffs like a 4-iron. Like I'm picturing a few shots in my head.
President's Cup one's
Yeah.
huge.
Yep.
Exactly.
When he had the Argyle sweater on.
Right.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
And Tiger takes a second to process it.
It's just
if
how
you,
it is.
if you
Like
think
he
about
knows.
it, like he looks up, he does like a little lick of the
You're
lip,
right.
and then twirls it in,
And
and
it's
you're
a little
like,
hold.
"Oh my God,
Yeah.
this is going to end up on a highlight reel for the rest of my life." But instead, today you're getting these fucking twirls and these. What's the word I've been looking for this whole podcast?
I have no idea.
When you put a sword in,
Sheath.
a sheave. It's
Sheathe
a
your
twirl and a
sword.
sheave.
Sheath.
A
Sheath.
sheath.
like a sheath. Hey, a great sheath is Gladiator.
Yeah,
When he's begging for help, and the guy steps up and goes, "Sheathe your swords, sheathe your swords."
All right, so a good sheath. Yeah, we're seeing sheaths.
Because you were looking for accent earlier, so I didn't know what word you were like, and I don't
been a
even
long
think
week,
accent
dude.
worked there.
It's common as that pussy begs for
accent?
help.
For Dottie,
Sheathe
you were
your
like different accents. It's just like they said it different. I don't even know what that
like
word
a
is.
faldo and a gym dance. They have different accents, right?
That's
Yeah.
true, but
So like everyone just saying
their
Dottie
approach
in
to
different
the
ways.
word was
Yeah, and
different.
like Faraday and all these
You got Faraday, you got Faldo,
True.
you've got Nance, all hitting Dottie with like just saying Dottie.
You got,
And it's
you got
three
everybody's with different
three different ways of saying Dottie. It just throws you off.
You mentioned kind of licking your lips earlier there, Mikey. You know what makes me do that? Chef's cut beef jerky.
Ooh, I fucking love Chef's Cup beef
Isn't
jerky.
it the best?
I'm not even kidding, dude.
Your voice okay?
Yeah, well, I got really excited about Chef's Cut. Biltong.
Biltong.
They sent us this biltong.
Biltong?
They sent us this biltong, and it's basically prosciutto. Like it's chewy meat, and they also sent the zero sugar biltong.
Biltong.
Dude, it is the tastiest shit I've ever had in my entire life. I put that in my golf bag now, and I played golf. I played at Rockville Links, shout out Rockville Links, and I had biltong in my bag. And I was just like, oh, man, I'm a little hungry right now. I took it out of my golf bag. I ate it. I gave it to some people I was playing with. They're like, what is this? What is this chewy, salty, amazing meat I'm eating? And I'm like, it's biltong. Check it out. Zero sugar, too. It was the zero sugar one. I thought it would be like diet meat. No, it wasn't no diet meat. It was fucking fantastic. Dude, Chef's Cut, shout out to you. I love beef jerky.
They keep sending us these very nice complimentary packages of beef jerky, and I want to put it in my golf bag. There's no way it's making it to my golf bag. I just plow right through that stuff. The first time we had the ad read, I had already eaten all my Chef's Cut. They sent me more, and now that we are doing another ad read, I've already consumed all of the Chef's Cut that they sent me. It's
the best snack.
It is. Beef jerky is the best snack, and Chef's Cut is the best.
And the golf course, man, you're out there for 4, 5, 6 hours. Sometimes you get out there early. It's really difficult to plan when you're going to be hungry, when you're not going to be. You don't want to be like on a totally full stomach because you're trying to do something remotely athletic. It's just like you just are hungry more often than you think. Chef's Cut's the perfect snack. It was founded on the golf course by two caddies who were looking for better tasting protein snacks to fuel their rounds. You can visit chefscutrealjerky.com. Use the code CC4play, that's one word. You get 25% off. That is awesome. That's 25% off. chefscutrealjerky.com. That's all one word. chefscutrealjerky.com. Code is CC4play. CC4play, 25% off. chefscutrealjerky.com. Okay. Xander, like we talked about earlier, he did have some very because he's clearly getting the rap, and we were talking. Frankie's talking about is he just a guy that can't close now? And he clearly knows that people are talking about that. So it'll be something that'll be fascinating to watch going forward. This is now, the second, third time that he's had a good chance to win the Masters tournament. Didn't get it done. Hopefully, he doesn't have demons forever. He seems like a pretty cool cat, cool customer that can get over it. A lot of things to go over from the week. I'm going to kind of go back, just generally rattle them off, and we'll see what happens. Billy Horschel, Meltdowns.
He's a lunatic. I mean, it's confirmed. Is he the craziest guy on tour?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty damn close.
Rory Sabatini's up there.
Yeah.
That guy's a crazy
Especially after
person.
what Spieth said. Like, when he
That's
drove
right.
into him, he's
That's
like,
right.
that's the worst guy to hit into. Thank God he kind of likes me.
Yeah.
We joke around on the show. We tell jokes. We try to make people laugh. We use hyperbole to make our points. Billy Horschel is a legit psychopath. I'm not kidding.
Dude,
He's a real,
Tough to have a-
actual
he's a problem.
coming from Trent,
psychopath.
that hurts so much more for him.
He just is. The one clip that came out today of him, I don't even know what happened on the shot. All the video was him individually grabbing the clubs. Seems like he said a couple words to each one and slammed them back into the bag. For a guy who knows, well, there's clearly patrons out there. There's going to be cameras on him at some point, and to still act like that is a psychopath. Legit.
He's a problem. He's an absolute problem. He's aggressive. He's angry. He does sarcastic laughing.
Yeah, that is a sign when you're like maniacally, sarcastically laughing. No, clearly showcasing to the world that you're so pissed off that you're trying to avoid it by laughing. That's not
Oh,
Like,
this is hilarious.
I legitimately think Billy Horschel is 100 times crazier than John Rahm.
Dude,
John
it's not even
Rahm,
close.
Agreed.
John Rahm is crazy on the golf course because he knows how good he is and how good he should be playing. And it's got to be incredibly frustrating when the golf ball doesn't go where you want it, when you're a guy with as much talent as John Rahm. But when you're Billy Horschel and you're just angry, it doesn't matter if you were good at golf or if you were just an accountant at a normal job, I think he would be just as angry as he is all the time now. And that is a scary proposition.
He looks like a guy that could really hurt your feelings. You know, like he would just absolutely belittle you.
He looks like a guy at a cookout when you have friends over who could very easily make things uncomfortable for everyone.
Oh, for sure.
Where everyone's just sort of like, no, don't say anything. Just don't say anything.
Oh, yeah.
It'll pass. Don't worry about it. Like, that's Billy Horschel.
Anytime you're going like, oh, Billy, 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 but like smirk smiling, you're off the rock. Like you can't say your own name, smirk smile, and like be level headed. It just doesn't.
The Islander Rangers.
You gotta tell people what
Rangers
that
almost
was.
just got the second goal to tie it up.
I saw that net move and I was like, oh,
Rangers
boy.
almost just scored. That's what that noise was.
The slamming of the clubs was really just, that solidified it because we had seen, he's taking his shoes off every 5 seconds. The guy's
Took a
walking
big
around
spill.
barefoot. He's walking through the creeks. He's like
He fell the day before.
He fell the day before and like maniacally laughed at everyone looking at him. It's just, and then when he started slamming those clubs in today in a tournament that he had no chance in winning or even coming close in, like that was all I needed to see.
Yeah, he was the subject of a conversation a few weeks ago when he won the match play, and we talked about like he's just not very likable. It's like you couldn't really pinpoint it.
Got the
maybe it's
chiseled
not the worst.
face.
He
Something
just
about him.
he just solidified it, I think, this week with a lot of the clips, and that one slamming the clubs in the bag, which again, a lot of people have been incredibly angry on the golf course and make jokes about. I've been incredibly angry on the golf course. Like you said, for him to do that with everybody around, with people paying attention, with patrons, with him in the Masters, with him coming off a win 2 weeks ago and knowing cameras are everywhere, like that just looked like a crazy
Right,
person.
I quote tweeted that video or I tweet videoed that or whatever. I put it out there being like, this is a real psychopath and everyone like beware if you're ever around Billy Horschel. And I had people respond and being like, I don't know what you mean. That's like a relatable golfer. He's just mad at his clubs. There's a very big difference between being mad and like a relatable, terrible golfer and being a fucking crazy person and yelling at your clubs and slamming them. Billy Horschel does not fall in the relatable category.
And
in
if
terms of the way he reacted after that shot.
And if that was the only incident ever, it'd be like a little more
Maybe.
maybe. Like that, plus all the other stuff, plus like it's just been building up. It was like, okay, dude, plus the stuff at Chambers Bay when he was like doing the wave thing at the greens,
Yeah.
pissed off about the greens. He was like maniacally laughing then like a crazy person, even though he's pissed off. So I think it's all adding up to a very clear picture of Billy Horschel.
He also seems unapproachable. Like you can't tell me that like if you walked up to him 3 different times, you get any consistency of self. Like he might say hi to you, he might like weirdly laugh at you, and the other time he might lose it on you.
I've also seen him multiple times tell quote unquote jokes to a reporter that only he laughs at. And that's a problem too.
That's almost his best quality right there.
But that's with you, like consistency of self, I think is a great way to put Billy Horschel, and he has none of that.
None.
You don't know who you're going to get. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a lunatic. To your point, when you're like, we try to make people laugh on the show, and like you're setting up, and he's just a complete lunatic.
Feels like we're kind of burying Billy Horschel here, but
We
I
are.
think he deserves it.
Yeah, he did. His performance was a little tough, and look, we're trying to speak our minds and like be on. I think we represent what a lot of golf fans see of like he's just not. He just looks like a crazy person on the golf course. Another thing is the Nike outfits.
Brutal.
2 thumbs down. As many thumbs as we got in this room, all those thumbs are down.
It wasn't all of them. Cameron Champ, I thought, had a pretty good look going, especially today on Sunday. He was kind of like murdered out. He had his shirt was like faded a little bit.
It was more specifically Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood never looked good. Tony Finau had a couple horrific shirts where they had kind of the just abstract like designs on the Nike shirt and the hats, and they looked awful. The joke going around with Fleetwood was that like clearly after he got the ace, that'll be played forever. He's going to be devastated that he was wearing that shirt the day that he got the ace. But then the next 3 days in a row, he came out in the same fucking shirt, basically, just different colors.
It's a really weird pattern from Nike. I don't know what it signifies. I don't know what look they're trying to go with. But I mean, you're making your people look ridiculous.
Right. I was saying that at some point, when Tommy Fleetwood gets the email from Nike saying, here's your script for Masters Week, he's got to stand up and just say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm Tommy Fleetwood. I'm one of the best golfers in the world. I get to say yes or no to what outfits I'm going to be wearing at the biggest tournament of the year, and these outfits that you sent me, they're a no. They're a no. Just do that. Because what are they going to do? Be like, oh, you can't play? That's not how that works. They would just be like, all right, we'll put you in more outfits that are like Cameron Champs. The fact that he knew what he was going to wear, it would be more believable that they sprung those outfits on him that week, or like every morning they were like, this is what you're wearing. He's like, I got nothing else to wear.
Do you think he has no say in the approval process?
He has to have a say, right?
Yeah, at some point he's got to be able to say, no, I'm not going to wear that thong that you want me to put on.
What I'm saying is, like, is there any of this that we can? Are we putting all of the blame on Nike, or does some of it go on Tommy? Because not everyone was dressed like an asshole that was wearing Nike. Some guys look fine.
I think certainly I would say 50-50.
Okay.
He also might be just a super nice guy.
Where he just accepts it?
Yeah.
He is a nice guy.
I know he's a nice guy.
You're right.
Where he might just be like, yeah, I don't love these outfits, but I'll wear them.
Right. The marketing person says, like, we'd like you to wear these. And
he's like, okay. The hole-in-one thing is a very great point. He's going to watch that forever and just be like, man, boy, that doesn't work in any era.
The other Brooks Koepka, when he first came out on Thursday with his outfit, he had the aggressive pink hat along with the aggressive pink quarter zip, which actually didn't look like that terrible. But then he took off the quarter zip, and like his whole outfit with the aggressive pink hat not matching any of what he was wearing, he looked ridiculous as well. So it was him plus Tommy on day one, and they looked preposterous.
Yeah, Frankie and I were saying Brooks. The patterns on Brooks' shirt looks like the floaties that you see sometimes in the corner of your eye when you're like not focused on something and something floats by.
Yeah,
that's the pattern on Brooks' shirt, and that's not a good. It's not going to be compared to that in terms of fashion.
No, it's bad.
I gave a lot of shit to Jordan Spieth for his outfit. Under Armour just never can get it done correctly. They just always take a simple golf outfit and put one thing on there that it's almost worse than what Nike's doing, because like it's a regular golf shirt that he had on Saturday, was it?
I think it was Friday.
Was it Friday? Just a regular golf shirt, and then they just put a line on his a stripe on his arms, his sleeves. It just makes the whole thing look absolutely absurd. So that was really bad. But then I think leader in the clubhouse for the worst outfits of the week was Victor Hovland.
Adam Scott.
I thought you were going to say Adam Scott.
How was Adam Scott not?
Like Adam Scott's a bad color coordinator, but Victor Hovland looked absolutely preposterous the whole week. I don't know what that thing was yesterday. It was like he was wearing. Did you see it went all the way down his chest?
Yeah, and then the one before that, he looked like he was wearing a newspaper.
I mean, Victor Hovland, and here come the Rangers on a 3-on-2.
Oh my God!
Victor Hovland by far was the worst dressed at the entire tournament.
But you know what I respect a little bit about him?
No.
Those are gigantic swings.
And
gigantic
misses.
Swings and misses. Sometimes you miss, sometimes you hit them.
And Tommy Fleetwood was a big swing too, wasn't it?
But to
me, Adam Scott is worse.
No, here's what my
Adam
opinion.
Scott's also the hottest guy on tour.
But here's my opinion: is that the Adam Scott outfit, I thought we were almost considering it so bad relative to how hot he is and how good it could have looked. Not that the outfit was actually as bad, whereas these other outfits on their own, just looking at them on a rack, are like pathetic.
If you ever picked
all
up
on a
Victor
mannequin, you're saying they're worse.
All on a mannequin, worse.
If you picked up Hovland's outfit on a mannequin, you need to be put straight into prison.
The thing that bothers me the most about the Adam Scott outfits is they're pretty. The top and the bottom they're pretty much the same color, just a little bit of a different shade, and that is infuriating.
They were like baggy brown.
Right?
Like,
he doesn't cut. They don't
what
cut
are
them
we
right.
doing here?
We sound like we're fashion experts, which we're
are
clearly
now
not.
because we've been staged this week.
But true. Shout out, we're still wearing our Peter Millar stuff right now. But there's stuff you see and you know it doesn't look good. And I think everyone we've mentioned so far, if you look in the mirror, you just know that it's not an A+ outfit.
Clearly, and I think some of those clearly stood out. I thought that Abe Answer today on Sunday, they showed him, and he had on, I think, an all-black outfit and just an aggressive red hat with his tequila company on it. I thought that looked great. So I think you can do the move where the hat isn't matching with anything on the outfit and look good. I thought he pulled it off. But some of the all-time bad outfits were out there this week, and Nike just kept delivering with a bunch of them, and it was shocking.
I've said it before, and I think Frankie has disagreed with me. I like for the most part, Bryson DeChambeau outfits. I think he keeps it pretty simple. Solid colors, and then like a khaki or a darker khaki pant, and like a solid blue or a solid black or a solid gray on the top. Like I'm very simplistic in terms of fashion, as everyone knows. But like, if you just don't try to take too big of a swing like a Victor Hovland, and you go pretty standard, you're good in my book for the most part.
I will say Nike had some. They obviously sponsor a ton of players. Like Cameron Champ, his outfit killed it all weekend. Like black on black, like I thought he looked good the whole time. I thought Jason Day when he was playing looked good.
Jason Day's usually hit or miss though. Sometimes he has awful outfits.
Yeah.
Awful.
All right. Well, either okay.
But this week,
but he for the most part he does.
Yeah.
He does a similar thing where it's black on black or it's blue on blue,
right.
or
it's simple.
Yeah, he kind of does the Adidas,
the abstract colors that Nike's
the
putting
DJ
together
yeah.
DJ wore a nice pink shirt. The pink shirt that grew on me because he's a blue gray guy.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Thursday?
I think it was Thursday.
Thursday he wore the pink shirt that I thought looked bad at first, and then it grew on me as the day went on.
I thought the best outfits of the whole weekend were the foreplay guys in their Peter Millar stuff.
Absolutely.
I have to say that I'm still rocking my lavender Trent. You've got a nice item on right there.
Yeah,
dude.
this is like this thin jacket. I don't know. I really love it. I thought it was a quarter zip when I first pulled out my scripting, and then I was like, oh, this is like a nicer item. I love it.
So the Peter Millar Crown Sport apparel is trusted on tour by pros like Harris English, Lee Westwood, Kevin Kisner, our guy Kiz. If it's good enough for the tour, we will be wearing it in the Barstool Classic all year. We've seen a lot of Peter Millar action in the Classic, but just in general. We're wearing it around Philly. We're wearing it to watch sports. We wear it when we play golf. They're launching new styles this season like the Solar Cool Quarter Zip, a lightweight mid-layer built with a revolutionary fabric that reflects the infrared rays of the sun. I'm not a big fan of the sun. And the Hyperlight Apollo, which brings fresh style to the Peter Millar sneaker lineup. I'm rocking those right now. Delivering incredible comfort and dynamic design for off-course wear. You can go to petermillar.com/Fore. You're going to receive complimentary gift with purchase and free shipping. It's petermillar.com/Fore. But they do. Their EB66 5-pocket pants are some of my favorites. They've got a couple pair of jogger pants that Frankie was getting compliments on.
Oh, the best.
That ass is popping.
The absolute best.
Popping.
If you want to look like a cool guy, you want to look like a hockey player on his day off, you got to get the jogger pants.
It is, yeah. It is hockey player on his day off.
I think it's like the ankle pant is what they're calling them on the website.
Okay.
The ankle pant.
Don't iron them.
Don't. No,
Did you iron them?
I tried to, and then it just stuck to the iron.
He
and
ruined
burnt
them.
They stuck to they just burnt right through
Well,
them?
yeah, they're basically like that
Right.
Because
athletic.
it's not that type of material.
One thing that I found out, and actually, shout out to me, I think I turned Frankie on Saturday with my Peter Millar outfit.
Oh, it was really good.
He kept looking at me and goes, "That's the best you ever looked."
Oh, you did look good.
You did look good, and usually you dress like a
right. I just don't match.
kind
It's
of an
like
idiot, yeah.
I do the blueberry whatever.
You do. I was curious today. I heard you sort of a little bit down on your blueberry outfit, and I was surprised because I've seen you purposely dress yourself
Right.
in the
Do
blueberry.
you,
Well,
think, do you think I'm in that corner? I'm on that corner of blueberry.
Right today.
I mean, I've been doing blueberry a lot
Well,
recently.
blue's such a good color.
It's a great color.
And you know what's great about it for you and me? Thinning.
Oh, he sure is.
Whoever sent me my Peter Millar scripting, shout out to them for real, because they know me. They send me all dark colors.
Those are the
Right.
real ones.
Well, I
They
mean, my
just
name's
know.
Lurch. It's
Like they're giving, yeah.
They're sending
But
the guy named
they're
Lurch
giving
quotes.
Frankie whites, which she looks good, and they're giving Riggs these beautiful purples. You throw that on me, and it's on me because my body is terrible. So they know they give me the dark blues, and I look fantastic.
But the one thing about Frankie burning his pants with the iron is like there are so many different thicknesses of quarter zip that now I'm privy to. Like you have the featherweight, which is just feels like you're wearing nothing. It's amazing there's enough fabric to cover you.
You can find your styles there that fit you and what you like, which is cool. That they're not just all like uniform. They've just figured it out. Peter Millar has figured it out with clothing. Yes, anybody who knows golf at all, it's been in pro shops. They're just like, oh yeah, Peter Millar makes the best stuff. So petermillar.com/Fore. You can see what we like. We got a lot of our favorites on that landing page, and you get yourself complimentary shipping. You get yourself a complimentary gift. You're welcome for that. The pin location on the 6th hole on Friday was awesome. It was the back right pin that was just barely over the knob. And, man, we were watching people land balls within 3 or 4 feet of it, left of it or short of it, that were rolling 60 feet away. Justin Rose at one point hit one of those shots. It rolled all the way to the front left of the green. Then he hit a putt that came back to his feet, and then he two-putted from there for bogey. We saw chips. I think the first time they panned to that hole on Friday, Vijay Singh had like a 10-footer for double. And there's no water on the hole. I was like, what is going on here? And then they showed the replay, and he hit it just short of the pin, rolled back off the front, tried to chip it up, rolled back off the front, tried to chip it up, rolled back off the front, putted it up, and then made like a 10-footer for double. So that pin location on 6, big credit to Augusta. It was awesome.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It's just brutal.
It is. No, I mean, it shows you. Like, we were talking about what we could shoot there, but when you hear those stories, it's like, I couldn't break 200. I mean, you have to hit it on dinner plate. You have to putt.
It was harder
and lag
this
it
week
up.
than I remember.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
just
I mean,
looked impossible.
One person was double digits under Hideki.
Yeah.
Think
Right.
about that. Like
Right.
that is. Think about how good those guys are. And that's not a golf course that only has 2 par 5s. That's a golf course with 4 par 5s that pretty much everybody in the field can reach every time. And
that's
for the winner to only be 10 under,
Right.
that's crazy.
That's why I love it so much, because on the back
Yeah.
9 today, like, we had a golf tournament from the walk from 15 to 16, I would say. It was pretty much like the peak of the golf tournament excitement is literally the walk off 15 to 16, too.
Correct.
But the finish of that with 13 and 15, both gettable, hit a good drive, here we go, is so exciting for a finish. I just don't know. Like, I don't know if there's no course that's better in my eyes for just a finish, and also having the ability to bring scores from multiple. Like, if you're 5 under and 1 under, you can bring those people together in a split second.
Yes. And it's and you know the holes, right? So that like
Yeah.
which always helps. It's and I get that like on tour they play a lot of courses where you know, but none of the courses are like Augusta National, and none of them mean as much as a major championship. So seeing it all come down on a course that you know, and having Augusta be as perfect as it is, having it be too kind of a second shot golf course and a recovery golf course is so cool in the sense that, you know, people are rarely out of the hole like off the tee. Mm-hmm. There's a few instances, obviously, but a lot of times like you see a guy spray it into the woods and then you might see something awesome. Like when they cut to Hideki right after the rain delay on 11 on Saturday, like he was in the trees way right and he hit like this sick cut punch shot to the back right pin on 11, made
so
birdie,
good.
and then, you know, was 6 under on his last 8. It's like, that's cool. Kids from a similar spot, you know, on Thursday, I think it was, like made triple from there.
Yep.
So it's like you just don't know, and it is a recovery. It's a recovery golf course. Like Spieth on Friday, Saturday. Spieth on Saturday, you know, when it looked like he really had a chance to win the golf tournament, on the 8th hole, I mean, he hit one so far left on 8 that he was like talking to the winds and the green coats and looking around how he could like, and then he hit the most amazing recovery shot, made birdie on the hole. So it's like Augusta destroys people. It is, like I said, 4 reachable par 5s, and, you know, only 4 people were better than 6 under for the whole week. Like, that's crazy. So the rest of the course holding up, you know, that well against everyone without there being much trouble off the tee, it's just such an awesome golf course.
It's honestly just refreshing to have a week of golf where scoring isn't one of the topics of discussion, whether it's really, really high scores or really, really low scores. That's when you know the golf course is just playing fantastic, where, oh, it's not like, Zach Johnson, they lost control of the golf course and people can't do anything out there, or they're going 25 under. Like, it's nice just to have a golf tournament play out. Scores are here and there, only one guy double-digit under par, and then you have a winner. Like, that's a kind of a nice, refreshing week to have.
Yeah, and I thought, too, like, they lengthened the 5th hole, which was talked about a couple years ago. They lengthened it by, like, 50 yards, you know? And I do think – I love that hole now because I do think you get a little bit of a taste of, like, U.S. Open in there a little bit. Like, the 4th hole is 240, par 3. That's got a very shallow green, so it's very hard for guys to make good scores there. And then they go to the 5th hole, which is a bear, and it's like they've got to try to get through this hole, and like a par is a really good score there, and that feels a little bit U.S. Open-y. And then like once they get through, you know, 7, depending on where the pin is on 7, it's like 8's a very much a birdie or eagle hole. 9, you know, they can all pretty much hit the fairway. They have a shot to get to 10, 11, but like some of the pins on 12 are good. Then 13, 15, it's like birdies, eagles. It's like it just gives you such a cool mix, and it's like, you know, you can, since you know it so well, and since the course is so cool and has such good variety, you can almost like get inside the player's head a little bit of what they're thinking. Of like, I know this guy, this par putt from 12 feet on 5 is huge for this guy because if he just gets through here with a par, he knows he can make some strokes up, and it's just like cool to be in their heads a little bit.
Well, when Matsuyama was standing on 15, the discussion was he has one swing left.
Yes.
If he puts a good swing on this, lands it anywhere on the green, this tournament is over. And he obviously did what he did. He blew it through and put it in the water. But we were all saying we knew what he was thinking. I guarantee that's what he was thinking. He was thinking,
100%.
if I hit a good shot here, this tournament is absolutely mine. And if I don't, I'm in real fucking trouble.
Well, that also played out on 12 because he just made a bogey, gave one back, and then we made a bet on Barstool Sportsbook that he's going to miss the fairway because only miss, you can't pull it left. So in order for him to commit to a draw around the corner is just insane. And so what does he do? He pushes it like out to the right, misses the fairway. Boys collect a little change.
Yeah.
He just navigated his way to that victory, man, and it's cool to watch him do it because you knew where all the trouble spots are. And Augusta, it just continues to deliver. Brooks Koepka, we talked about his outfits already. He had a very disappointing showing. He did look ridiculous with his knee and, some of the stances, which, you applaud him coming off surgery 3 weeks later and trying to play. In his presser after he missed the cut on Friday, he was asked, hey, can you just talk about the disappointment of missing the cut? And he immediately responded to, how fucking disappointed do you think I am? I worked my ass off just to get here, and then to play like this is pretty disappointing. What do we think of that pretty aggressive response?
I think if you're a journalist in 2021, you can't do the talk about question. I think that drives people crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't ask, and it's not even a question. I shouldn't have said question there. If you just say talk about how disappointed you were about this, like, is there a question in there?
That's
like,
the worst.
What do you want me to do? Like, talk about how you didn't do what you wanted to do this weekend. That's a very frustrating thing. And in terms of how I feel about his aggressive response, I just think that he had to be so frustrated. Although in the back of his mind, he had to be thinking somewhere like, should I even be out here? I can't bend this knee. Like, it seems crazy, but I guess he really thought he had a chance, so he's frustrated. I don't know.
And that's the power of Augusta, too. I mean, like, people want to play. You see all over social media. The players are, like, psyched to just play another round at Augusta. Even if they're not, like, don't have a chance to win the tournament, but they've made the weekend, they're just excited to play another round. So, was a little early for Koepka. It looked like it. If you can't bend your knee, you can't tell me it's 100%.
Definitely looked like it.
Yeah,
I agree with the question aspect. That is the reporter saying, I'm only here to get negativity and news made out of negativity. So just go on here and I'm going to put this frustrating thing out there, and I want you to just kind of deliver a soundbite for me in a negative way.
Yep.
And that was literally all that was said. It was like negativity plays on the news. So I know you're going through a real negative emotional state right now, and I have to capitalize on that. So just talk about that negativity real quick.
Talk about how negative
That's all he said to him.
Kind of like Balionis last year with DJ. It's the opposite because it's not a bad thing, but she kept trying to make him cry. She's like, so he was like, I can't answer your next question because I'm about to cry. He's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, how does it feel that everything that's led up to this point in your life, like, is now staring you in the eyes? Like, he's like, Pauline is that. He's just like,
everything you've ever wanted to accomple has happened. How does that make you feel?
You gotta stop.
Right.
And she's like, okay, I hear you. What about your team? What do they mean to you?
What does it mean to have your brother on the bag? It's that's a good way to do it, though, because then you get a good emotional clip.
That was like the most human.
Right. This was the opposite of that.
They used to have this girl at the Islander games back in like the dark days, like the fucking early 2000s when no one was coming to the arenas, and they used to have the little kids come out there for the shootout, and she'd pull one of the little kids over, and she'd always ask the same questions. Did you score? And clearly he scored. That's why she pulled him. And the kid would go, yeah. How do you feel? Good. And the thing would be over. It's just like, what do you think this 3-year-old that just played on this fucking ice is going to answer to that question?
Well,
like,
I think that's more about just pictures for the parents. Like,
no, it was like to the whole arena. We're all sitting there like, it was like breaking down these fucking questions. It just was like some of these fucking reporters' questions, and obviously it's not to these 3-year-olds skating on the ice. I mean, you guys can clearly tell that used to drive me fucking nuts.
No, but I'm with you. Like, what is this 3-year-old going to be like? Well, actually, when I woke up this morning, it's like,
it's
you're
insane.
fucking 3.
It was insane. Like the fact the kid even got on the ice was amazing. You think this kid's going to fucking give you a full breakdown?
Were you
interview?
just mad that you weren't on the ice?
That's what I was thinking. Is there any little jealousy out there?
No,
like,
I guess
these
it was one of those like you had to be there things because she did it every game.
That was a window into just how long Frankie has been angry.
She never got
decades.
You never got an answer other than good. Once.
What was
41 straight games I'd go to. Never once did the kid say anything other than good.
Just good.
What was the first
how
thing
did
that
it
was
feel?
repetitive
Good.
that was under your skin that you hated? Like, what was the first thing that you hated?
I don't know, dude.
Red lights? Like, what
I
could it
don't
be?
know.
Yeah, it could
Think
be red
about it and
lights.
come back to the next time because
All right.
that
I gotta
had to be
pee,
pretty
is what I
early
gotta
on.
do. I gotta fucking pee, man.
Same.
I've been drinking water like a fish.
You've said that so many times.
Need gills.
I mean, I drank 10 bottles of water a day here.
You've been drinking a lot. Yeah,
I
as
would
someone
say
who
that's on the
only...
light end. Didn't you have 15 one day?
Yeah.
Do fish drink
12?
water?
I don't know. I was trying to think about that, too.
Gills.
They live
just
in water,
process it.
clearly, but do they
Do
drink
they
it?
need water to survive? Like to
Yeah, I think
actually
they
get it
take the
inside
oxygen
them?
out of it.
They
right?
do, but I don't know that they drink it. Is that considered drinking it, or is it like almost
just
like
suck it in?
closer to like a photosynthesis type thing that
Right,
like,
that's-
goes through your
Right,
There's
I'm
no
saying
way
they
they
just process
there's
the
no way
water.
they need water the way we need water.
They're not thirsty?
Like if they're thirsty, they just open their mouth.
Yeah.
And if they're really thirsty, they're dead.
Good point.
You know?
Tricky.
What do we do if I have to really pee? We just keep rolling?
Well, yeah, and you can just get up and go.
Yeah,
pee.
you
I
got
had to go to the
legs.
restroom a couple shows ago. You know, it's just part
Yeah.
of the gig. Bryson DeChambeau has not clearly figured out Augusta National. I do enjoy when I turn on the live from that. Like Brandel loves this. You can tell he just loves that. Like golf is about painting a picture and the artistry and shot shaping, and that Bryson is just not an artist. That he's just a robot. And, you know, it's very clear. I think he said, like, trying to put a square peg into, like, a round circle or a round hole. It's like he just can't quite figure it out. And I think that's right. There were a ton of par 67 jokes going around, even though he shot 67 on Friday. He shot, like, 76 on Thursday and then just did not play well over the weekend. I think he ended up, 4 or 5 over par, whatever it was. But Bryson has not figured out Augusta National. And I, for one, I kind of enjoy that he hasn't figured out Augusta.
I do too, and I'm sure over the years, as if he doesn't figure it out and he doesn't win a green jacket for a long time, people are going to continue to use the par 67 joke. They're going to run it into the ground, but he made that bet. And he
Totally
deserves for that to be brought up every single year that he doesn't win. And I'm with you, Riggs. I enjoy watching him struggle at Augusta National because going into the November Masters, he was putting on the green jacket on Tuesday. There were people on his side being like, he's just going to bomb it over this whole place and he's going to win. It's going to be no problem. So every time he doesn't achieve that goal and every time that place gives him fits, it makes me feel warm inside. And I don't we talk about it on this podcast all the time, and I honestly don't want to rehash it again about how we feel about Bryson. But like seeing him struggle, a guy who, anytime you watch someone who's overconfident and thinks they have something figured out and they fail, it feels good for everybody else.
Especially in a game that we all know is humbling and extremely difficult and more difficult than he's leading on.
Right.
And the par 67 thing, I think another main reason people love making fun of it is that it is a ridiculous thing to say. Like, just because you can, in theory, hit it the distance to get up near something doesn't mean that it changes that hole's par, and especially the third hole. The third hole,
Right.
if you're calling it a par 67, you're saying that like he just drives it into the middle of the green the whole
Right.
time, because that's what a par means. A par is like takes you 2 shots to hit it onto the green.
Right.
It doesn't take him 1 shot to hit it onto the green on 3.
Right.
Nobody hits it on the green on 3.
Right.
Nobody. Bryson, you can't even hit the green with a wedge. He's hitting green with a driver.
Right.
No. So like him calling it par 67. If anything, if he said par 68, we could all understand that. Be like, oh yeah, 4 reachable par 5s. Ha Tiger. People used to laugh that it was par 68 for Tiger. That's
Right.
cool. The minute he went 1 stroke lower and he brought in the third hole as like an automatic birdie hole, karma immediately kicked him in the dick last year when he lost his tee shot on the third hole. As like, oh yeah, this is now just a reachable hole. That's a par 3 for you. No, it isn't. That hole's impossible. So I think like people love, like we just said, to, see someone who was overly cocky about something not achieve that something, because it grounds them and all of us. And Bryson's going through that. I imagine maybe someday he will figure out Augusta. Maybe he'll win there, but it's not right now, and it's kind of nice to see.
Totally agree. And it's also, if you're going to like take a knock at the most prestigious and most beloved golf course in the world, and it punches you back in the face, like the world is going to appreciate that.
Yes.
Yep.
And like that's what's happened, I think, for the whole golf world. And so I like to see Bryson succeed, and I want to see that, his length really like change the game in some capacities. But when you make that little like joke about Augusta and it's a par 67, and you're right, like to call the third hole a par 3 is ridiculous. Like I don't know if there's ever been in the history of the Masters somebody to birdie that all 4 days. Like I can't believe that to be true. And so Yeah, it's great to see it punch him back in the face and him make the cut both times and struggle. Like, it's almost, we'll let you into the tournament, but you're going to die for Saturday and Sunday, and, like, you're going to have the most pain of anybody out on this golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the par 68 stuff with Tiger, that's earned. The stuff with Bryson is stupid, airheaded cockiness.
Right.
It's a glitch in the system, which is what I love for him.
What do you mean?
Like, just every, like, you know that he goes back, and he had this number, and he had all these calculations, and he had this assessment of how he was going to do scientifically, mathematically, the whole bit. He cannot figure out why that's not working, and it keeps him up at night, and it's going to reroute his whole system. Like we kind of thought that in November, and I think he did pretty well after that, right? Like, he's played. I mean,
he won in Bay Hill. And
won in Bay Hill, right there. I knew something.
But he hasn't
happened.
like dominated. He won.
No, but like you just got to think that like this drives him so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, he was so befuddled after the November Masters that he had every medical test done on his body
Yes.
that was available to the public. Like, he just had himself tested and tested and tested because he couldn't believe. He thought it had to be something else. It had to be something wrong with his
And
body.
that's why we all hate him.
Yeah,
I
correct.
think. I don't know if I'm speaking for you guys, but
No.
that's
No, at times
just a difficult one.
everyone hates him. At times everyone.
he's
hates
just a squid. Like that word just like always just comes in my head with him, where it's just like, what do you mean you're sick? Or like you have to get fucking tested. You didn't play good golf this week.
Well, the other
What do
thing
you
is,
mean?
it's literally a par 68 for the majority of the field. You know, like, the majority of the field can get home on every par 5 and 2. So
Right.
could you call it a 68? Like, yeah, like DJ could call it a 68. Is he, like, do you go out and state that and say it, especially before, to Trent's point, you don't earn anything of calling it that? Like, could Tiger say, like, yeah, I mean, I treat it as that because I thought this is where I could take advantage of the golf course. It is a par 72, but, you know, every par 5 I was looking at it as a birdie to get one back. Like, you could say that now after you've accomplished it all.
Yes.
To say it prior is like, what are you doing?
He hit a couple shots on a fucking driving range and walked in and said it's a par 67.
Well, the VJ clip is all time. I mean,
You're
that's
right.
other plan.
He
But he
does.
doesn't
He was hitting balls really far in a living room somewhere, and he decided in his brain it's par 67 at Augusta.
like, yeah, it's a par 67 in that TrackMan thing with Chris Como. But it's not a par 67 at Augusta National in front of VJ Singh on the driving range anymore. Like, that's not the fucking real world.
No, and even calling it a par 68, it's like, well, then that's such a bad mindset, because look at how hard the rest of the course plays. Then everyone then is shooting, 2-3 over on average,
Right.
because the field, there was only 20 guys that shot under par. So like the rest of the field, the average score is, if you're looking at somebody that shot, say, 2 over for the entire week, well, then they were 8 over for the entire week? If you're caught 10,
Right.
12 over more,
Right.
if you're looking at it as like a par 68, which is not. So it's a crazy mindset to go in with privately, and then to say it publicly was a bit more like into his mind of how poorly he is with understanding public relations and like the general conversation around the public and golf and
Right.
social. And it just comes to bite him in the ass. So long story short, the par 67 jokes are going to continue, and he deserves it.
Totally. I mean,
Yep.
if you're going to think, like, you think Bryson would think about it more of, I'm just going to add up the scoring average across all the holes, and that's going to be my par. And that's how I'm going to compete for 18 matches over the course of
Right.
this round. Because you look at the 5th hole, scoring average is probably 4.5. So if you get a 4 on that hole, you're picking up a half stroke on the field. And like just,
Right.
You'd think he'd almost be more, like, rather than stating it. But your point and everybody's point is accurate in terms of him saying it publicly is just like, dude, you're so detached from reality.
Yes.
When he
You're-
misses a putt, he
yeah.
looks up into the sky and blinks a million times. Like, he just can't he can't fathom.
That drives me nuts.
He can't fathom that the ball
Like,
didn't
he's
go
been
in.
fooled based on his
It's
book
also
and what
it's
he did.
insulting to everyone else in the field when the only reason that he played poorly in November was because of some like metaphysical issue that had to be diagnosed by 30 doctors, when it's like, oh, well, all the other 90 guys that didn't win the Masters this year, they just played like shit, but not me. I actually had like a physical biological issue that I couldn't have overcome. And it's
Right,
like,
on
well,
top-
no,
yeah.
you
On-
just played like shit.
On top of everything, the lack of accountability, just that
Yes.
it's actually his fault, is how you turn off the masses immediately.
And perhaps that is the best way for it to work for him, in his process, and good for him. He's U.S. Open champ, and he'll be very successful, make millions. In terms of his likability and people like us, it's going to turn us off forever.
Whoever his PR rep actually is just horrible. Like whoever's managing his image is like the videos he puts out.
Videos, yeah,
it's just a mess.
His team's bad.
Really bad.
The U.S. Open trophy with the leg.
Or you could
press.
argue that they just get eyeballs, and that's exactly what they try and do.
Maybe. Yeah.
Whoever
But
he or she who's managing him
for
doesn't give a fuck if
ads is
people
just
actually like him. Like he
fair.
or she
It's
that's
clickbait.
running him
Yeah.
is saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm just getting you all these fucking advertisers
Right.
and all these people are watching."
He does have
I
a
don't care if they like you or
billion
hate you.
sponsorships.
They're fucking-
He has so many sponsors. So it's like
They're putting logos on your chest.
It's also just kind of like hard to hide a squid. Like,
Yes,
he's going to be asked questions, and he's going to answer
he
them.
leaves an ink trail.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
know what I'm saying?
that was good.
Most guys have tried different ways to last longer in bed, but thinking about the squid ink trail does not always work. The folks at Roman, which is the online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman swipes, which is the secret to longer-lasting sex. You want sex to last long, right, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yup.
Roman
Definitely.
swipes are a clinically proven way to do that. They're effective, easy to use, and fast-acting. They do not require a prescription. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging so that you're not kind of sending a signal to the whole world. Each swipes packet small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're very easy to use. You take the swipes out of the packet, swipe it on, let it dry, and you are good to go. You go to GetRoman.com/4. You get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/4. You get your first month of swipes for just $5. GetRoman.com/4. Again, when you have sex, which is a really cool thing, it's very natural. Everybody should be having sex. You want it to last longer because then you're just more impressive. You have more fun. It's a good thing.
Right.
GetRoman.com/4. Zalatoris, this guy's awesome. He had a lot of he's just got like a really unique look to him. He looks like he's wire thin because he is. He's sneaky tall, I think, which is why like that 165 that we came up with, because we were asking like, how much does that guy weigh? 110, whatever. He's like 165. He's sneaky tall. Pounds the golf ball, hits it on a string, hits it pure. He finished tied for 6th at the U.S. Open at Wingfoot. And then he comes in at the Masters and has an awesome showing. He was really one of the only gutsy ones throughout most of the day. He ended up finishing solo second, one shot behind Hideki. You know, the big story that they hammered home, probably too much, beat a dead horse, whatever, was just that, you know, he doesn't have tour status even. He's clearly gonna be, I think, a very consistent star. He looks like Happy Gilmore's caddy to the point where he engraved it on his wedges, so he's embracing all of that.
Did he do that?
Yeah. 60 degree.
He had it
You
engraved.
see Adam Sandler tweeted out today, like, good luck today.
Yeah.
Did
Mr.
he?
Gilmore
I
is
did not
looking
see
out
that.
for you.
Yes.
I didn't see that. That's excellent.
That was awesome. So he shot a 270 in the final round today. You know, under
God, he had it going too.
He had it going. He looked good. He really looked good the whole day. He never looked like uncomfortable. He never looked like he wasn't going to be a factor. He just kind of stayed right there. He made some mistakes, but everybody did. And ultimately, again, he finished one shot back after all of that, with all of the pressure, being kind of a nobody. He did have the great quote of like, well, if it was dumb to think I could even be here, then it's clearly dumb for me to think I can win the Masters, so why not? And he almost did. He's one shot back. Just nothing but positive things to say about him.
And it's also crazy for this 24-year-old guy that you're saying doesn't even have tour status, this whole thing, for us to have that much confidence in him the way we did watching him on Sunday. Like, especially on, like, Barstool Sportsbook and all this stuff, like, putting in bets for him to, like, hit greens and make birdies on tough holes. Like, I never once wavered on Zalatoris to ever, like, really have a big blow-up, which to me is insane. It's Augusta National. It's Sunday. And we're putting in all this confidence in this guy. That just shows how fucking good he is.
Yeah, I liked his comments too about, you know, making putts for Monday qualifying and like how hard that is, because that's before you achieve success and get big paychecks and you're trying to earn it. Obviously, you know, it's a different mental state of, you know, being at Augusta versus those, but they're still like vitally important to your golf career. And yeah, he made a bunch of good comments. He's obviously got a ton of game. I think he got the fastest hips I've ever seen move through a golf ball. But it was great to see him come out, and obviously he played tremendously well, and goes to show you need to make every shot, because he cans a 20-footer on 18 that felt irrelevant, and then all of a sudden it was so massively potentially important as Hideki has to get up and two-putt from there.
Yeah, he earned a lot of fans. I think he's going to, he'll be remembered for a long time as like that young fucking kid. Because even though he is, what is he, 24? Is that right?
Right. This blew my mind.
Right around
too.
24. Right. He looks like he's 17. So it's like when you, to a degree, especially in the interviews and stuff, it comes off, I would say, as more mature and older and whatever. But like that, as a fan, you pretty much see that silhouette of them from behind when they're like, or from the side, I guess, when they're hitting a shot. And like he's wiry with the long hair that looks like a little bit.
Body, honestly.
It's a little bit immature to have like the hair like unkempt and flowing out of the hat and his wiry little body, and you're like, who is this high school kid? That's
he's also got a little mustache, just like he's like barely getting facial hair. He's a young person, but in a young man's body. He's like Frankie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He gets stopped at the movie theater for rated R movies.
Right, he looks a little young.
He'll be getting carded till he's like 45.
Yep.
When he's trying to get a drink. Like, yeah, he just looks really young. But man, he was badass all week, and in his game, there's really not much to say. Like his game was just solid. He hit it straight. They said that his biggest negative on him was his putting. That he's like worked really hard on it, and he putted pretty damn well. Comparatively speaking, and he just continued to hit it great. Every time they cut to him, dude, he was hitting an absolute missile dead straight. It felt like.
Yep.
Totally agree. His ball
Pounding
striking is incredible. The other thing that I thought you were going to say about how young he is and then how young the field is, something that blew my mind is he played in like a junior event with Spieth when he was 9 and Spieth was 11. And just to think about how young he is and the career that he has in front of him, Spieth is still so damn young, and he's just accomplished so much in this game. And the roller coaster of a career, I guess, that he had, but now that he obviously back on the up and up, it just, I don't know, it goes to show you that there's just so much more for him to accomplish too.
There is. It's like it's pretty shocking that it's been 4 years since Spieth's won a major, because we're looking at those numbers, and when you hear he's 27, you're like, wait, he was only 23
Right.
when he locked up those 3 majors and was going for the career Grand Slam. It was like he could have won the career Grand Slam when he was 23 if he would have won that PGA when he gave the thumbs up to Jason Day, and you're just like, how is that possible?
Right.
So he's got a lot to give. Spieth had a good week. He had a very good week.
What, T3?
I think he was T3. He was
I would say it was a pretty good week at the Masters.
7 under par. He was tied for third. He finished only 3 shots back, and he had a Spieth-like week where it was like he was muttering to himself. He didn't look fully comfortable. It never really felt like he was in full control of his game, and he almost won the fucking Masters.
Right.
So that's kind of Spieth. That's why we love him.
He's a roller coaster, man. It's just
You're going to lose your mind on 16.
It's a roller coaster that's now around every week again.
You
Like
just,
the
like-
roller coaster, it had some deep valleys where we didn't see him for 2 or 3 years.
True.
And it was like, holy shit. Like, and then when it came back up, at the beginning of this year and at Waste Management, obviously, but now it's still a roller coaster, but it's more steady than it has been. And it's good just to like turn on the coverage and Spieth is up near the top of the leaderboard and you're going to watch him all day. Like, that's just a better place for the game of golf, for Spieth, obviously, than it has been the last couple of years. And I get enjoyment out of that.
Dude, I asked this question because he's just so much, right? And Brian Harmon was playing with him today on Sunday at Augusta. Yeah. They're both trying to win a Masters green jacket. I mean, they both had a chance all day. There's no question about it. And I just, I can't wrap my head around playing with a guy like Jordan Spieth in a fucking major, the way he has his ups and downs, to the point where I'm like, do you think if you're Brian Harmon, you're getting swept up in all the theatrics with Jordan Spieth? Like, they were standing on the 16th tee, and Jordan was taking his hat off, going back and forth with Greller, changing clubs. Like, Brian Harmon's just in that now. Like, his journey to winning his own Masters is now just fully like ingrained in Jordan Spieth's day. He knows everything that he's talking about. He's watching this guy go crazy. That's got to throw you off.
It's more on par 3s too, because like par 4s or par 5s, you drive one out there, you pick a line, but then you separate because somebody hits it left to right. But certainly on 16, that was the point in the day where Frank was like, it's enough. I mean, he's gone back and forth 4 times. He keeps talking to Greller. He keeps wiping the towel. He's imparting his roller coaster of emotions on Harmon. This is now more difficult for Harmon.
Dude, even when Harmon was hitting, they still had the camera on Spieth, and he's hitting his leg a little bit and talking and taking his hat. It's like, dude, the guy who's on the tee box is trying to do the same thing as you. Can we just relax for a second? It's just an overflow of his ups and downs to me.
You realize if you put this clip on Twitter, some people might respond and be like,
yeah,
Spider-Man gift to you.
What do you mean?
that you're that person.
Yeah, it's like
That
a little
I-
bit of.
And we talked a little bit about that too, but Spieth seems to have more of a running commentary.
I just don't-
Frankie will be down in the dumps and then he'll get quiet. Spieth,
Yeah, I agree with that.
it's Spieth. It never stops. The printer keeps printing out pages, and it just never ever stops.
But I would assume he gets quiet when like Harmon's hitting. He's not like talking.
Yeah,
while
yeah,
Harmon's
no, he's
hitting.
definitely he's not disrespectful, but I do understand what Frankie's saying. Where you can't not notice it. I would imagine
It's got to be significantly tougher, I would say, to play with Spieth than it is to play with like Patrick Cantlay, who's just quiet and
Right.
like in his own world.
Without question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, I would agree with that. I'm sure it's distracting. I'm sure it's like,
Has to be.
but
What do you think was more distracting to Brian Harmon today? Was it Spieth's running commentary about his game or Michael Greller not having a beard? Because I think it's probably Greller not having a beard. Stunning move. Riggs, you made a good point when we were all stunned on the first tee. Just you were like, oh, they're just trying to change it up. But
Can't do that.
it's just
He's
too
been too
much.
hot this year. Spieth's had a great year. How do you change up your fucking beard on Sunday?
Yeah.
When I saw that he had no beard, Greller, I literally bet against Spieth to lose the first hole, and he did.
that
Do you
was
think
a
there
good
had to
bet.
be some
That
sort of
was such
internal
a good
joke?
bet.
Yeah, it was a great bet. Do you think there had to be some sort of internal build off, like, hey, that's going to help us achieve success, or we're gonna rally around you shaving your. There had to be something.
Yeah, if you're Greller, you don't shave that without asking Spieth.
No,
For
sure.
sure.
Right, that was clearly right.
Yeah, was it the 2017 British where Spieth shaved his head? Do you remember that?
Dude, they got a lot of weird things going on
There
in
was
that
a-
crew, man.
Spieth did not shave his head.
Dude, there
He
was
like buzzed it.
He
right?
buzzed it, and it was noticeable.
I remember that. He was
Barely-
answering all
he's-
questions about it.
No,
He's
no,
thin up top
no, but
already.
but he's got hair, and you can see it under the hat, like the
That
hair.
happened.
I gotta look
Dude,
back
that
at
happens.
this.
I'll try and find a picture of it, but it was very clear.
Yeah,
So
they
may-
have something going on.
They have, like, a
have to
shave
have
thing
something
going on.
Because yeah, like Greller doesn't just come out Sunday of the Masters
No.
when you're in the third or fourth to last group, clean shaven for the first time in his career,
Right.
and it wasn't a thing. Like Jordan doesn't see him on the range and be like, "Oh, you decided to shave? That's cool." No chance that
Right,
happens.
we're not. This isn't a member guy. Like it's not just like
You can't shock your player right before he goes to the first
right on the
tee.
range. He's over a wedge.
Spieth's like
and you're
calling,
why the
like,
hell?
what'd you do with my caddy?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
was amazing.
Look at that hair. I
Oh yeah, no, it's not shaven, but high and tight.
right,
Yeah,
and you could
so-
tell when he
Yeah.
had the hat on, it just looked like he had changed something.
And he
Without
addressed
question.
it, right?
Didn't
I
he
remember
say
at
he
the
went to a
time-
local? He went to a local barbershop.
I think he did say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you're
But
right.
But
I
I
think that's
think
the
him
thing.
kinda
Where
messed
Sunday
it
of a
up.
major, they're shaving a body part.
right.
Think
And
that's
maybe
part
it's
of
parts.
their-
Sometimes it's parts we don't see.
They've got like a little thing going. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Ooh.
They shave stuff.
Shavegate.
They shave stuff.
You just they shave stuff.
I don't know how else to say it.
Spieth shaves him.
Yeah, maybe it's
Spieth shaves
maybe
Greller.
it gets real personal depending on
Ooh.
how big the tournament is.
DJ missed the cut. I don't. We're not going to like necessarily analyze that. Who cares?
Yeah.
To a degree, like he won the tournament. He won the Masters in November. He was crying. It was awesome.
He's a stud. He's just
number
a
one
stud.
player in the world. He'll be totally fine.
I got
Yeah.
a question for you though about his win. Do you think that him having the scoring record in November and that like does that get a caveat or is that
I
just
think it'll always get addressed. I don't think it'll ever be like, oh yeah, DJ has the scoring record at 20 under. I think it'll be
Yeah.
like DJ has a scoring record, which you got in November when it was soft. Yeah, like I think people will always kind of
Yeah.
talk about it a little bit. I don't think though his win will ever have like, or nobody will think of it as needing like an asterisk or anything. It's like he won the Masters. It was awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
I also say that speaks to him as a player. Like if it wasn't
Right,
Dustin
right.
Johnson who won it, it was somebody else.
Good point.
But the fact that it's Dustin Johnson, it's like he could have won that blindfolded. Like
He was just the best player.
He was the
Yeah.
best player at that time, and that's a no-brainer.
The course could have played like it did this week. He would have won that week.
Right.
Like if it was the same conditions. It
100%.
doesn't
Bryson
matter.
went into that thing. It was a par 67. He didn't even come close.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Same turn.
That's
I
exactly
mostly
right.
want to know what DJ did the last 2 days because it seems like
He played
he's-
golf today, right?
He did play golf. We heard.
Where?
Champions something.
Oh, so he
Champions
stayed around
Retreat.
there.
Where we were there. That's where Gary
Champions
Players,
Retreat.
our friend Mr. Gary Players.
That's
house was.
right.
Yeah.
But I just want to know what his weekend looks like.
Right, because he missed the cut Friday, but he has to present the jacket Sunday.
Right.
We were thinking he was going to PJ it right back to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Not that like money's a huge concern, but that would be to PJ it back and then PJ it back and then PJ it back home would be a good like $100,000. Maybe.
Does he have
yeah,
a,
probably
does he
30
have
grand a flight, something
It's
like
a
that.
pretty good amount to spend.
Yeah.
Does he have a PJ sponsorship?
I don't know if he does. Does he have like wheels up on there?
sure.
It's hard to keep track.
They all
of
are
now.
net jets. Like
Yeah.
he's got
Yeah.
something.
Maybe.
I'm guessing he stuck around and just like hung out.
It seems like he did.
Yeah.
If he played golf today, he definitely did.
Yeah.
Good for
right.
DJ. He lives a life. He's the Paulina, and he
Right.
just seems to
He's
enjoy himself.
just
He's
the
a
number
stud.
one golfer in the
Father-in-law
world.
is Wayne Gretzky.
That's true.
Boys
mean,
of
I've heard about
Wayno.
that.
He's got a great thing going. Abe Answer was penalized for the grazing of a bunker on Thursday. I think to the casual, not even the casual, just like the average golf fan, this was infuriating. We talked about it a good amount here in the room, and then it's frustrating because there's no way that penalty gets called without like super slow-mo magnified television cameras.
Right.
They might have been using the 8K camera looking at that bunker. Is what
That's
it felt
what's
like.
frustrating.
There's just so many opportunities to call people on that don't have the camera on them. Like we were saying, I forgot what hole it was, but I think it was Thursday or Friday, or the same day that Abraham Answer got this. Bryson was in the fucking bushes behind the par 3. And like taking practice swings and moving bushes and trees. Like you're telling me if you had an 8K super slow-mo camera that fucking golf ball sitting on pine straw inside a bush is not wiggling and moving from its original spot to the point where he would also get like a penalty.
Dude.
To me, it's just crazy that we penalize people because they happen to be in front of a really HD camera on a certain specific hole.
Dude, Bryson in that moment looked like he was playing basketball and like trying to get into the low post.
Yeah,
he was trying to get low post positioning on the tree line at Augusta. Because you're right. There's no way that ball didn't move. There's no way.
No chance.
You can say that about anything, dude.
Right. That's
Yeah.
the point. Is if you think about that over 93 golfers or 89, however many it was this week, 88. Who were playing, 72 holes and all the different incidents you get into. Like, even in this tournament alone, that might not have been the only spot where somebody accidentally grazed a few grains of sand, and you're going to penalize this one person 2 strokes because you happen to have to get. It just seems a little bit ridiculous and nitpicky. I hate that rule. I hate that, like, if it wasn't determinable in like real life, and then when you look at the replay, if it's not blatantly obvious to the naked eye, I don't think you can penalize
that piece of sand. I bet you that Abraham Answer didn't even know he did that until someone showed him the video. Like
Yeah,
it was so,
definitely.
it
Yeah,
was
100%.
so light, that sand. There was basically nothing that like I don't even know that he saw it. Number one, number two, like even thought it would ever be an issue because it was just a little piece behind the ball that was already that piece of sand was going to go with the club regardless. I mean, did you see the way it just fucking disappeared on contact?
I agree with you. To play devil's advocate, if that's Reed, you have the same stance.
I personally would because I've backed Reed on some of that stuff, being like, do we think that this guy's really out there, like knowing the difference between bringing that club back an inch and getting that one piece of sand
What that does
away?
to the golf ball?
Right, like, or just like having the fucking wherewithal to be able to do that.
You
like,
sit in the same spot.
I think all the HD camera shit's fucking bullshit.
Okay.
And it does seem each time with Reed, there's some logical discrepancies. It's different. It's not a super zoomed in camera, super HD, and 1 grain of sand falls. It's like, well, that ball, how would it bounce and then embed? You have more questions than just like, oh, it's a really super high def camera. So I don't know if they're necessarily comparable. I understand what you're saying. But to the general public, it's probably like people would look at it differently if it's Patrick Reed or if it's Abraham Answer. Right. But I do think the situations that Patrick Reed finds himself in seem to be a little blurrier.
And I agree with you on that. But what if Reed found him in a stance where, we're not talking about the ball that bounced and then embedded or the thing in Australia where he seemingly moved more sand. But like if this was Reed this time, where do you think you would sit? If literally only by seeing through an 8K camera, whatever the case is that you saw a move, like how would you feel?
I like to think I would sit where Frankie's sitting.
Okay.
It would not be
He'd
viewed
get
well.
murdered.
No,
it wouldn't
murdered.
Be. He'd get murdered. And the difference just for me on these is like the Reed clips thus far that have all surfaced, it's like people are literally noticing it, taking cell phone footage of the TV, of the camera being like
good point.
Across the fairway.
Right.
This was like no one on earth knew or said a word about it until there was a super high def zoomed in slow-mo of it, and they were like, those couple grains of sand are gone.
Fair.
It's also where golf opens itself up to criticism where people who are just watching Masters weekend where they watch that and they're like, well, this is the dumbest sport in the world that you guys are talking about this. You guys realize how stupid that is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That you get a 2-stroke penalty for something that is only seen by the most expensive camera in the world. Right. Like, come on.
That's preposterous. So I think we're all pretty much on the same page that I don't think they necessarily made the wrong ruling, but the ruling just needs to change so that can't happen with slow motion cameras basically giving people penalties. Zach Johnson, we had wherever the fuck he finished this week, who cares? But Frankie
Yikes.
had a great early call. That wasn't even a shot at Zach Johnson. That was just
You know what? I forgot the
Clean.
topic you're about to bring up, and I was like, why are we talking
it was
about
a
Zach
ruthless
Johnson?
shot at Trent for no
Yeah.
reason.
No, I trust me. I
like
get
Zach
those
Johnson.
all-
Seems like a nice guy, Midwestern fella.
Yep.
Frankie had the amazing call. I think it was Friday.
How did it come about?
I think we were just seeing a lot of Zach Johnson. It was our first day gambling on the sports book. I think he was out early on Thursday, so we were seeing a lot of Zach Johnson out there. He had the Transamerica logo on. Sorry, Panarin was just coming in on 2-on-1.
It's really fun watching Frankie lose his train of thought
just
watching the hockey
Just for
game.
a little fucking background here, it's 2-2 Islanders Rangers with 8 minutes to go in the third period. So things are starting to tighten up over here inside these Peter Millar 5-pocket pants.
You may not. You may not have heard
Anyway,
Frankie
we
say
saw-
peep for the last 10 minutes for a reason.
We saw a lot of Zach Johnson, and I'm like, man, this guy just looks like we just need to clear this puck. It's crazy. This is fucking crazy, man. I mean, we are just in one right now. Okay, thank God for the love.
Oh,
we
it
just
didn't
couldn't
get out.
Get it out. We just,
Did
all right,
not
boys,
get
we
out.
just- I know this is a Masters podcast, probably like the biggest golf weekend of the year, but we just got to get this Islander game going. Like, this is
Get a
crazy.
goal.
There's
One goal.
just a
One
ton
goal.
of-
Go in. Oh, my
There is
God.
so much pressure in this offensive
All
zone.
right,
It's
now
Can we
really
watch this
scary.
with
Here's
us?
the
They
thing.
can't get the
7:50
puck
in the
out.
third.
Here's the
Rangers
thing.
They
continue
can't get the
buzzing,
puck
moving
out.
it. They've got it.
They
in
just
the slot.
no, they just gotta get it out
Here
now.
come
All
the New
right.
York Islanders.
If you have
hitched-
hitched,
Fuck.
if you have hitched your podcast wagon to Foreplay,
You know what's
you know
going
this.
on.
You are aware of what this is.
Any new listeners, I'm sorry, you can leave now. Like this is just
No,
what
stick
we
around,
do.
Stay
stick
with
around,
us.
because we got a good Zach Johnson thing coming.
Anyway, I saw this guy and I'm like, this guy just for some reson looks like an astronaut. And you guys looked at me like I had fucking 10 heads. You're like, what does that even mean? So then our fucking producer Jake Bass puts a fucking Photoshop. I don't know why I'm just saying fucking right now. I'm just so stressed. Puts a
You
Photoshop
trying to put
together.
sentences together
Right,
while
just laugh
watching
out
this
loud
game.
fun.
All right,
Puts a
now it's in the
Photoshop
neutral
together.
zone. You can grind
Puts
here
a
for 30
Photoshop
seconds.
together of Zach Johnson on an astronaut, like stock astronaut photo. And I mean,
Perfect.
we put it on social media, and someone
than
responded, "Is this?" They actually thought that was a real astronaut that happened to look like Zach Johnson. Go look on Twitter; you'll see it's on our Instagram. No one's ever looked like an astronaut more than Zach Johnson.
Which
So-
I think
so-
is an incredible compliment to him.
Yeah,
Astronauts are heroes.
think
You're
it's like-
distinguished if you're
I
an
think it's
astronaut.
like,
Yeah, that's tough.
what they do is heroic for sure, but I think they all have a look of like a fit mathematician, which is like its own category of astronaut. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Zach Johnson looks like he knows how to do a lot of complex math equations, and he also can like hit a golf ball. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like
No,
there's
it's-
certain
it's-
mathematicians that are just nerds.
It's the
and
most
there's others
perfect
that
fit of all time. Like
Right.
if you put your head on that astronaut,
It
it
looks
would
ridiculous.
look stupid.
You
just
put
like
Xander Schauffele's
you know,
head
it
on that, it
doesn't
looks
fit.
ridiculous.
Exactly. He's a guy that it's spot on perfect.
It's the nose. It's the square head. It's just everything.
It is the square head.
It's
you're
just
right.
it fits.
Distinguished chin.
His head was born to be inside.
The
a
most
spacesuit.
important part of this, and I think you're probably going to backtrack this now, but you said that picture might have turned you into a Zach Johnson fan.
Oh, I did. I thought the idea of being able to tweet that out when he wins or plays well is a huge plus for me.
There's a real chance that ends up on
On a
a
t-shirt.
Barstool shirt, stored out Barstool Sports at some point. A shirt,
Ryder Cup.
a hoodie, yeah, something with the Ryder
it
Cup,
has to.
something going on. Because if not, I'm gonna have Welker make me a 1 of 1, and I'm gonna wear it around because
You
I
should.
love it.
It was a great photo. It was just fun to look at, even. And just like
is.
it's
Just
hilarious.
a nice looking photo. Frankie, by the way, I have utilized the Barstool Sportsbook to put a little bit of money on the New York Islanders to
Okay.
win this game.
6 minutes left.
Oh,
we
the
are
Rangers.
grinding right now.
2-2, 6 minutes left. Looks like we have a little bit of a commercial break right here,
That's
which
huge.
is perfect for us. Siwoo Kim broke his putter and then used his 3-wood to putt on the last 3 holes. This, I believe, was like Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and he was only like 3 shots off the lead at the time. He was playing great golf. He was 4 or 5 under for the tournament. And then on the 15th hole, and Siwoo Kim, there's some rumors out there that he runs really hot. He missed a putt, so I didn't see what he missed or what he did on 15, but he's standing waiting to hit. He had like a 15-footer up the hill, and he just gives the old like hardcore slam lean on the putter, standing on that little slope on 15 green right before the water, and just his putter broke right where it kind of meets the steel. Putter breaks, so then he very calmly just motioned to his caddy of like, "Yeah, you're gonna need to bring that 3-wood over here." And then he putted with the 3-wood for the rest of the round. He 2-putted 15, 2-putted 16, 2-putted 17, and 2-putted 18. All of which I would say were putts that like he wasn't expected to make with a putter anyways, and they were pretty solid 2 putts, especially on I think it was like 17. He had like a 30-footer.
Was it a 3 or a 5?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was a wood. It was like a fairway wood.
Because I remember saying, like, how do you not use like the bottom of a wedge? Like, isn't that just a lot more
I think
of a
those are
natural
two
stroke?
options. Yeah.
But a 3-wood to me is so big. Like 5-wood, I can understand it's closer to a hybrid. Like I would never be able to putt with a bigger head like that. I just would never be able to keep that plane going.
I bet it was a 3-wood because it has less loft. Like 5-wood, you're starting to bump it up more.
True.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I'd go with
He
a
was
wedge.
so smooth.
I think I'd blade a wedge.
Same.
I think I might try. I don't know. I think I might try the 3-wood move because I think it's the closest club that you can really use to like a putter.
The
In
only
terms of the loft.
Yeah.
The issue with a 3-wood for like short putts that you just like need to get the ball on the line, like that club is long and it's out there. You know what I mean? Like
It's got jump.
I feel like for long putts, I don't have an issue with the 3-wood because it's more about just trying to get in a 3-foot circle around the hole. But like when you're there, that's where I'd be like, all right, bring over the wedge now.
It was funny on 16 because he had a decent look for birdie and he hit it like 2 feet by the hole or something, and so he had like a 2-foot tap in and he was standing like 5 feet away from the ball. Right. His 3-wood's so long, so it just proportionally you looked at it, you're like, what's going on here?
Right.
You weren't cued into what was going on. So that was a fascinating moment. But other than that, man, it was a great Masters that was borderline. It was leaking towards this is going to be boring bullshit on the back nine. When Hideki, I think at one point had like a 5 or 6 shot lead, and still had a couple par 5s to come up. But Augusta delivers. It's very hard to win a golf tournament, especially that one. There's water all over the place. It's nerve wracking. It got really close, and Hideki pulled it off. So I'm excited to look at all the kind of the reactions, see what it means in Japan, kind of fully understand that more. And then other people are talking about the Champions Dinner next year.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit of a curveball for a lot of people.
I hope he goes full like hibachi.
Me too.
Like bring in hibachi in the
Somebody
middle.
cook in the
and
middle?
everyone- Yes, you have
That'd
to.
be awesome.
That would
Good
be.
call.
You have to bring in hibachi.
That would be awesome.
Great call. Hibachi's
Sake
good.
bombs,
Right.
like the whole thing.
Right.
Imagine like DJ, Tiger, them all going like sake, like hitting the ground, having the bombs go in. The
Thinking
whole
of a
thing.
Gary Player doing like leg kicks to the middle with
Dude,
like a bunch
You got to go all in. Like this is such a different like winner.
Right.
Such a cultural change. You have to go all in on it. I hope he does. I hope he doesn't get swayed and do like fucking pimento cheese sandwiches. That's not
won't.
Hideki
No.
Matsuyama.
No, dude, if he does go full hibachi, you're right. We're already
my
getting the
God.
bows to the golf course. We're getting like it's a cultural difference. It's a different winner. Go all in, do the hibachi. But it was great. Good for Hideki Matsuyama, for his whole team, for Japan. It's really, really cool. I hope everybody's kind of as understanding as we are of like how meaningful it is and what that guy goes through and the pressure that he plays under. And congratulations to Hideki. I think that's all I got.
I agree. One last point I thought you were going to bring up with the bad rulings and things that turn people off from golf is Matt Wolff turning in the wrong score on 17, getting DQ'd from the tournament. It's another rule to me that's like,
Right. I
That's
agree
just-
with you. He's not a high school player trying to like
right.
cheat
And
a score
everything
in
you're talking
because,
about
like,
the grain
other
of
guy didn't know
sand.
what was going on.
Right, the grain of sand's being noticed. You can't tell me that like we don't know that he made a 4
So
or 3.
stupid.
It's like
Agreed.
just get work whatever next thing.
If we have the technology to like track these balls on TV and stuff, like we obviously know the scores being tracked.
I will
by
say they
some-
did screw up Shoffley today too. They said that like on remember that when
Yeah, they
said,
did.
yeah. But
But
again,
we all know what they shot.
right, eventually everybody
They
knows.
know what
it
they
gets
shot.
corrected.
Just go to the footage.
You
Right.
can't.
Yep.
Matthew Wolff was never gonna trick anyone, being like, "Oh yeah, I actually got a 3 on that hole."
Right.
Come on.
And he
was
wasn't even
nasty.
close to making the cut
It's
anyway.
just an innocent mistake.
Right, it's just another one of like golf's rules that turns people off, I think.
It's that high nose, like, yeah, you don't know how to write on your fucking scorecard.
You see that grain of sand, or
Let me look at you with my monocle.
It is stupid. I agree. But we love the game. So who are we?
Yep,
We're
we do.
here. We're doing
True.
it. We're enjoying it. But it can always get a little better. And just make common sense rulings.
Yep.
Make
Right.
common sense rulings.
100%.
That's really as simple as it gets.
Yep.
All right. We will be back on Thursday. Masters Week. It's as good as it gets. We get 3 majors, 3 months in a row coming up here. We got Kiowa's the next one. Should be pretty much a full crowd from what it sounds like at Kiowa for the PGA. Then we're U.S. Open. Then we're British Open or Open Championship if you still get upset about that. So we got a lot of major championship golf ahead. Congrats to Hideki. Hit it hard.
hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.